A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present Peter Bruff and Archie Andrews in Educating Archie.
Bruff, have you heard about the burglary next door?
Yes, Archie, it's terrible. You know, the daughter of the house suffered most. You know, the thief went into her room and pinched her pearl necklace.
Well, then it couldn't have been you.
Why?
Well, you leave the necklace and pinch the girl.
That's it. And listen, young man, while this burglar's in the district, we've got to be prepared. Now, what would you do if you woke up in the middle of the night and heard strange noises?
Well, I'd come running into your room with a glass of water and the bicarbonate.
That's enough. Well, I'm off to town now, my boy. I've got a most important business appointment this evening, so you go to bed early and make sure all the doors are locked. You understand?
All right.
Right, goodbye.
Well, I must be careful, mustn't I, eh? You know, I thought a burglar did break in once. I heard a noise in the middle of the night, switched on the light, looked under the bed and found a man. He wasn't a burglar. It was Bruff. He'd heard the noise first. Oh, hello, Monica. Monica, have you heard about the burglar in this district?
Yes, we had quite a scare last night at school. A strange man was lurking in the grounds outside the mistress's room. Miss Oglethorpe was terribly upset.
Did he break in?
No. Do you think that's why Miss Oglethorpe was upset? I say, Archie, look through the window.
What?
I'm certain I saw a man walking across the lawn. Could it be Mr. Bruff?
What, this time of night? Bruff wouldn't be dodging around in the garden.
No, more likely to be dodging around in his club.
Well, it must be the burglar out there.
Ooh.
He's waiting to creep in and rob us.
Oh, not to worry. I'll keep a tight grip on my lollipop. Now, come on, Archie. Let's go out and get him.
Oh, but steady on, Monica.
Oh,
No.
come on. I've had 3 ginger pops and it's far scary. Come on, into the garden.
Oh, Monica. Oh, it's dark out here.
Ooh, I just got something wet and sandy with my left hand.
Oh, what was it?
My right hand.
Oh, Monica, be sensible.
I can't see a thing, Archie.
Well, hold my hand, and I'll lead you up the garden path. Oh, come on. Come on. Here we go. Now, careful now. That's it. Oh, stop! Monica, look! A clue. Someone must have been here. There's a cigarette end on the grass, and it's still alight.
Oh, perhaps I have a whiff. Oh, Archie, it's a glowworm.
Shh, quiet now. Shh. Look, there he is. There's the burglar, walking up and down by that tree.
So he is. Oh, Archie, I can smell something very fishy afoot.
Yeah, not surprised. You're standing in the fertilizer.
Wind your neck in. Oh, Archie, I know how to catch him. Let's climb up the tree and then as he passes by, we'll jump on him.
Oh, that's it. That's a good idea. All right, give us a leg up. Come on.
Righto. Here we go.
That's it.
We'll sit on this branch. Archie. Archie, stop wriggling.
Oh, there's an earwig crawling up my leg.
Jolly nice. If you like that sort of thing. Quiet. Here he comes.
Oh, Monica, I'm so excited. Oh, I've got perspiration coming out on my hands.
Listen, I've got pimples coming out of my goose.
He'll be underneath us in a minute. Oh, all tight now. I've got the handcuffs from my detective set ready.
Very good. Stand by, Archie.
Right.
All right.
Yes.
Now!
Whoa! Stop me! Pull him down, Monica. Get him. Go on, that's right. Oh, that's the idea. Oh, it's Bruff.
Oh, dear. Wrong cook.
You little ruffians, get those handcuffs off me at once. I can't move. Get them off, I say.
Oh, Archie, you'll never make a policeman. Look what you've done. You've handcuffed his right hand to his left ankle.
Come on, unlock those handcuffs at once. Now, where's the key? Come on.
Monica, you had it last. Have you got it?
No.
Listen, you two, don't stand there talking while I'm trussed up like a chicken like this. Monica, go and get a file at once.
Mr. Ruff, it is no time to be doing your nails.
And don't be cheeky. Run along and get the toolkit at once. Archie, that girl gets worse and worse.
Well, she's not all that bad, really, Bruff. When you look at Monica, you ought to remember that underneath that tattered blouse, there lies a tattered vest.
Here, Aunt, I've got the tools. Now, Archie, you hold the chisel on the chain of the handcuff, and I'll bash it with a hammer.
Oh, my finger. Oh, that's my thumb.
Look out, kneecap. Here I come.
Monica, that was my wrist. You're supposed to hit the chisel.
I know, and all the time I'm getting nearer.
Oh, well, thank goodness I'm free at last. You little hooligans. What on earth were you playing out here at this time?
Well, we were only trying to... Here, wait a minute. What were you doing, Bruff, lurking around in the garden?
Yes.
At the night time like this?
Peter, darling, I've been waiting here for ages. Where are you?
Well, what do you know? It's the girl next door.
Yes, but just listen. She can't speak properly.
Come on, Monica, what a waste of time. We didn't catch the burglar after all.
No, but if we'd have come 10 minutes later, we'd certainly have caught Mr. Brown.
Well, today, I'd like to hear one of my favorite old tunes. It's called My Blue Heaven. For the very last week of term. You know, we usually go out and have a dinner. Oh, Dr. Seacombe isn't half excited.
Good morning, chap. I'm ready for the dinner party. How do I look?
Oh, Dr. Seacombe, well, look at
Yes,
you.
I thought you'd be amazed. You wouldn't think it possible that one man could be so handsome and rakish. Go on, Seacombe, lad. Give the mirror a treat.
Oh, sir. Oh, he's waltzing now. He looks like an elephant chasing its tail. Sir.
This isn't excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry, laddie. I'm just loosening up.
Well, don't go too far. You're loose enough as it is.
I'll attend to you when the room stops going round.
Well, you shouldn't waltz round like that if it affects you.
Waltzing round affects me? Nonsense.
Well, what are you doing on all fours?
That's nothing to do with my waltzing. The stupid floor keeps going up and down.
Look, can you see me all right?
Only too well, laddie. Do you have to sit there in threes?
Oh, dear. Come on, sir. I'll help you up.
Oh, that's better. I can't understand it. It's probably dancing on an empty stomach. I'll just nip out and get a bit of breakfast.
But you just had one breakfast.
Perhaps you'd account.
Well, never mind, sir.
Hello, Archie. Looking forward to tonight.
Oh, hello, Miss Dinglebody. Oh, yes, I am looking forward to it. But, you know, it won't be as good as last year.
I didn't go last year.
That's what I mean.
Watch it, laddie. One more retort of that caliber, and the master will be in and out before you know he's been.
Oh, Harold, I'm so looking forward to seeing you in evening dress.
I can say what you mean. I'm already in evening dress.
Oh, forgive me, Harold. I've never seen a green one before.
Oh, that is a brush off.
Look, if this is evening dress, sir, where are the tails?
Here.
Harold, you're not supposed to tie them round your waist. The tail should drop down at the back.
I had to choose between the tails dropping down or my trousers.
Oh, I never heard anything so silly.
It's all right for you. A couple of tacks and you're catered for.
Now, is that nice, Harold?
Well, he shouldn't go around making an innuendo like that.
Innuendo?
Yes, put the Radio Times in a window and say hello to Ronnie Walman. The Radio Times! Television! Agatha, did you hear this? Shall we down?
Harold, let's get back to the subject of your evening dress.
Yes, sir. You know, you really should wear a bow tie.
I couldn't get one. This ordinary tie will have to do.
Don't think I'm being critical, Harold, but couldn't you have found a tie that didn't have Marilyn Monroe on it?
Madeline. This is my favorite tie. In a high wind, she does a wiggle dance. Yeah, you watch you while I
Harold,
wiggle.
come on. See you later, Archie.
Well, I hope Miss Dinglebody fixes him up. He looks like a pile of rubbish with a face on top. Oh, look, there's Mr. Miles.
Morning, Master Archie.
Oh, Mr. Miles, look, why aren't you getting ready for the dinner tonight?
Oh, not me, thank you. I'm not cut out to go prancing around in them monkey suits.
But you don't have to dance, you can just eat.
No, that wouldn't seem right, me sitting in one of them fancy cafes. I should look like a tomtit in a peacock show.
Well, we miss you, you know.
Bless you, Master Archie. That's very, very kind of you, but I've got to get packing, you know. I've got to get my cart in order, like.
Well, look who's here.
Ah, my old donkey, Knocker. I sent her a telegram and we're off on the road again today.
Well, Knocker. Here, there's a basket of carrots in the house. I'll go and get them.
Morning, Tinker.
Down, Knocker, down. That isn't food.
Oh! She bit me.
Well, isn't that nice? She remembers you.
I prefer to be forgotten.
Well, I can't stand here gossiping all day. Just check what's in the cart, will you? Net for holding rabbits, pen for pig, hook on the back for tethering the horse.
But you haven't got any animals.
But we should be passing old Cockthorne Farm, you see, a little bit later on. We should pick some up. Now then, pots, pans, kettles. Oh, by the way, Dr. Seacombe, have you ever brewed tea in an old tin can?
No, but I should think it'd be rather fun.
Well, I'm glad you think so, because I've knocked off your kettle.
No, you can't take that. It's got my life savings in it.
Oh, dang me, I didn't know that. Which one is it?
Oh, here we are. Ah, this is it. There. My life savings.
Yeah, but there's only 14 bob here.
I'm only young.
Yeah, mentally, yes.
Hello, Mr. Miles. Why, look, old knocker. Oh, sweet.
Well, now, I'd just like to thank you people for being so nice like. And any time I sees you on the road, I'll be pleased to give you a lift.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Miles.
We shall miss you and knocker.
Well said, Agatha. Now, off you go, Tinker. May your road be smooth.
Thank you very much. Say goodbye, Knocker.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Well, goodbye all, and have a nice time at your dinner tonight.
We will. Bye-bye.
I love my Knocker, and she loves me with a fa-lal-doddle-um-di-do-dee. The countryside each spring will see with a
Well, Archie, my boy, this is our last program. And what are you going to do with yourself now?
Brad, I'm going to go home for a holiday.
Really?
Yes, I'm going back to see those corny country cousins of mine.
Hometown, want to wander round your back street.
Ah, that's the place.
See your tumble down old shack street.
Yes, sir.
I'd love to walk in on those corny country cousins of mine.
Sure would.
Hometown, where the dogs are softly cooing, where there's always nothing doing. I'll get a welcome from those corny country cousins of mine. There's an old schoolhouse door.
Didn't tell me you
We
went to
used
school.
to tumble through at home.
Oh, Betty dear.
And the small candy store,
Uh-huh.
where I could go a dozen lollipops and come for more.
That's me.
Hometown, where the garden trees are shady, where our Edie was a lady. I'm going back to see the corny country cousins of mine.
There's an old schoolhouse door we used to tumble through at four.
And the small candy store, where I could go a dozen lollipops and come for more. Hometown, where the garden trees are shady, where our Edie was a lady. I'm going back to see those corny country cousins of mine. Back again to my hometown.
And so, being the end of term, Archie, Miss Dinglebody, and Dr. Seacombe made their way to the Café du Poison. We would like to believe it was Poison, but there was only one S. However, they entered in fine style.
Can I have your coats, monsieur?
Why, are you cold? Are you cold?
Honestly, you can't take him anywhere.
Oh, he's just excited, Archie.
And now, Dr. Seacombe, sir, will you follow me?
Did you hear that, Agatha? He knows my name.
Harold, stop showing off.
Showing off, Agatha? The waiter knew me. A special table for the orchestra. Wait a minute. Who's paying for this?
What a lovely place this is, isn't it?
Never mind that. Who's going to be lumbered?
Now, don't you worry, Harold. We pay in turn. 2 years ago, I paid. And last year, Archie paid. And, can I have the menu?
Leave it alone.
Now, don't cause a scene, sir. I ordered in your name the best of everything.
In my name?
Is the table to your liking, sir, or would you like one a little nearer to the orchestra?
The nearer the orchestra, the more expensive, sir.
With it. The band is rather noisy, isn't it? But it will be when it starts. Have you another table?
Where do you suggest, sir?
In the street?
Monsieur is pleased to make us a joke. Now, what are we having?
We have not paid for yours.
Harold, they all talk like that.
Well, now, let me see. Now,
If you don't mind, laddie, I'll order. Now, let me see the menu. Three coffees.
This, monsieur, is a restaurant, not a coffee shop.
Give me the menu.
Agatha.
2,000 oysters, a bottle of Chateau d'Eau de Vin, consommé vermicelli,
Agatha.
followed by fresh trout, chicken à l'américaine with corn roti and Brussels sprouts. And I'll order the rest later.
I'll have consommé vermicelli and then fresh trout, sirloin steak, well done, pommes sautée, a few asparagus, and ice cream for 7.
What are you having, Harold?
Kittens.
Kittens, roti, and also 3 coffees, monsieur.
I made a lash out. Hand me the menu, Garcom. I'll have Lechoix and petit goût, egg and chips.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. Merci beaucoup.
Incidentally, waiter, where is the orchestra?
The orchestra? Oh, you cannot see them. They are behind the curtain. They are very, very shy, you know. I asked them to play for you. I asked them.
Thank you.
If we're playing to sit near the orchestra, I don't see why we can't watch them.
Listen. There we are, monsieur. The orchestra is delighted to play for you. They all say how much they consider it an honor, sir, and excuse me, sir. I think the conductor has a little cramp, sir.
I wonder how much that will cost me.
You know, I smell a rat somewhere.
But you ordered chicken, didn't you?
Oh, no, that's Vance behind the curtain.
I say, waiter.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
While you're there, will you ask them to say something different?
Of course, monsieur. They have the unlimited repertoire. Un moment.
Oh, I say. Yeah, it's enough to put you off your food, isn't it?
Quick, cancel your order.
Now, monsieur, how do you like that tune?
Oh, it's terrible. Ask them to play something else.
Oh, blimey. Un moment.
Don't be difficult, Archie.
Well, it was a shocking tune, wasn't it?
It's a gramophone you've got there, isn't it?
What do you expect, John Barbirolli and his Hot 7?
I won't be insulted here.
Well, where would you like to be insulted, sir?
The audacity. As soon as we've eaten, we'll leave.
No, let's leave now.
Yes, there's your bill, monsieur.
Bill? Yes, £7.12 and 6. We've had nothing.
It's very expensive, sir, yes, isn't it?
Go on, sir, pay him. We'll go somewhere else.
£7.12 and 6.
Haven't you got it, monsieur?
No, Lord, of course I have. Me, the playboy of East Acton?
Very well, monsieur. I will return when you have sought him out.
Well, Miss Dinglebody and I will go on ahead of you,
No, let's not leave yet, eh? Let's sit here and,
Why, are you counting the diners?
I may have to wash up.
Just tell the man you can't pay, that's all. Waiter?
No, please, don't.
Yes, mademoiselle.
Waiter, Dr. Seacombe cannot pay the bill.
No, don't believe I have stacks of money. I think we'll stay. What's the cabaret? You have a cabaret, I presume?
Oh, it all depends, sir. You see, monsieur, all the people who cannot pay the bills, they go on to the cabaret act. Yes, sir?
Huh. Would you announce me as Harry Heartthrob?
And so you cannot foot the bill, huh? Ha ha! I thought as much.
Well, you know, it is I'm rather short at the moment.
He's not interested in your height.
Anyway, would you be good enough to announce me?
One moment. There is another unfortunate who cannot pay his bill before you. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, cabaret time. And our first artist is Monsieur Arnold Fringe Singer.
Piece of pie, and I was worried about paying the bill.
Oh, my papa, to me he was. Your turn now, sir.
Sir, you're on. You're not afraid, are you?
No, it's so cozy under the table.
Oh, Harold, I'm sure you'll be all right. Well, let's get on first.
Bring him on. Come on, we're waiting. Oh, they're getting restless, sir. Somebody's only got to throw one plate and they'll all start.
Yes, well, put that plate down.
Ladies and gentlemen, Archie Archie. Bravo!
Come into the garden, boy. How much is that bill again?
£7, 12 and 6.
Oh, juggling with 2 plates. Up, here we go. And the wedding run along. There's a little yellow idol.
No, please, do not wreck the plate. Let us have no trouble.
Yes, sir. Let's do an acrobatic act.
Well, how do you mean, Archie?
Well, you stand on Dr. Seacombe's shoulders and I'll stand on your shoulders.
And then what?
I'll climb out through the skylight.
A large shack he is, my lord.
No, they will wreck the place in a minute. Well, what about the singing voices? There's only one waiter besides me. Quick, get an apron on.
Right.
By special request, Nellie D.
Let an old mill by the stream. Nellie. You get the door, laddie, and hold it open.
Okay, sir.
Get edge towards it and, Nellie.
Oh, Harold, I love you.
Agatha, I love... Oh! And the water does flow. Seems a murmur soft and low.
We're near the door now.
I've got your coat, sir.
All right. You're my heart, divine. I love you, Nellie. Oh! Goodbye, folks. See you again.
Goodbye. Good luck.
Archie, it's almost time to go now, Archie. Let's say goodbye and thanks to all our friends who listen each week.
Yes, thanks, folks. And we'll be back. And before we go, I would like to thank all the BBC staff who make our program possible. Our wonderful cast, Beryl Reid, Hattie Jakes, Peter Madden, Ronald Chesney, Harry Seacombe, Bernard Miles, all for their wonderful support. Our scriptwriters, Eric Sykes and Ronnie Wolfe, and the BBC Review Orchestra conducted by Harry Rabinovich.
May we all join in to say, till we meet another day. Goodbye, Archie.
That recording of Educating Archie, which was first heard last Thursday evening, was written by Eric Sykes and Ronald Wolfe and produced by Roy Spear. Musical arrangements during the series were by Peter Akerster and John Gregory.
You Alaman, let's do a grand right and left around the ring, walk on your heel and toe. Go side with your lady fair, now promenade her around the square. Promenade that mountain, promenade. Now the head couples forward, you come back to the ring. You pass through and separate around the outside ring. Come back home and go to it's to your corner, Alaman. Come back to your partner, you swing 'em round and round. Alaman left on the corner, now you walk right by your own. You swing the right and lady.
Okay, where's Mr. Peters? Oh, hello, Hector. Who, Eb? Well, he went over to the bank. Why? I want to see him, that's why. I'm going to get at the bottom of this business. What business? What business are you talking about? Well, you know, the other evening when Hortense called up and broke that date with me, said she was sick in bed with a headache. Yes, of course I do. She phoned the store here, told me to tell you. Yes, well, Mr. Peters said that he saw her over at Parton's drugstore with Major Barnes. Well, if Eb said he did, he did. You don't figure he'd lie to you, do you? No, of course I don't. But I just want to make sure, that's all. Because I'm going to get that big bum Major Barnes. You just wait and see. Well, now, don't talk like a fool, Hector Smith. I reckon Major Barnes has got a right to go out with Hortense if he wants to. And don't forget, he's the fella that's going to give you a job. So you'd better be a mite careful or you'll get fired before you even go to work.
Shoot. What do I care about an old job? Oh. I've been fired from 10 times better jobs than the one he's going to give me. I got a good notion to go up and punch him right on the nose. That's what I'm going to do the first.
Yes, listen, I get a picture of you punching Major Barnes in the nose. Why, he'd make mincemeat out of you, Hector.
Oh, is that so?
Yes,
is that so?
Yes,
well, it ain't so. You just let me tell you something. I'm a lot stronger than I look. I used to be a professional wrestler, I did.
Yes, I suppose so.
Well, I did. I wrestled for the championship once. Against a great big tall fella. Gosh, but he was big and tall. He was so tall, Mr. Winterbottom, he was so tall that he couldn't reach the top of his head. Well, this fella...
Wait a minute here. So tall that he couldn't reach the top of his head, how'd he put his hat on?
Well, he stood on a chair. Well, this fellow was the champion of the world, mind you.
What was his name? What was his name?
What was that, Mr. Winterbottom?
I asked you what his name was.
Oh, his name. Yes, that's right. That's right. And so
what's right? I asked you what the feller's name was.
Oh, his name?
Yes.
His name was, that's his name. Oh, his name was Neuritis, that's it, Neuritis.
Neuritis?
Yes. You see, they call him that because he was a pain in the neck. Oh. Well, anyway, we were wrestling for the championship of the world. The great stadium was packed to capacity. The bleachers are a riot of color. It's a great spectacle, folks, a great spectacle. I only wish you could be here with me and see it. There goes the whistle. The teams are lining up. Signals, 100 102, 184, 163.
Say, Hector, how do you mean? There was a team of wrestlers?
Wrestlers? Wrestlers. No. There was only Neuritis and myself. Well, as I say, the gong sounded. We leaped into the center of the ring. Neuritis made a pass. Then I passed. The referee passes. And the fourth fella bids 2 hearts and makes a grand slam. What do you think of that?
Yes, but say, what about the wrestling? Who won?
Who won?
Yes.
Well, you see, Mr. Winterbottom, it was like this. We jump into the center of the ring, and suddenly his arms are around me.
Yes.
He's forced me down to the mat.
Yes.
Forcing me down, foot by foot, inch by inch. Now he's got me in a half Nelson. A half Nelson.
A half Nelson, huh?
Yes, half Nelson and half police dog. Yes. We're straining every muscle. We're all tangled up in each other. All tangled up. With one hand I have a hold of his ear. With the other a hold of his elbow. And then what do you think happened? A big foot stuck right in my face.
That was kind of dirty, wasn't it?
Yes, I'll say it was. It was the dirtiest foot I ever saw.
Oh, I mean, was sort of dirty wrestling.
Yes, and right then I had my hands full too, and couldn't do a thing about it. So there we were, tugging and pulling, and all tangled up, and me with that foot in my face. Oh,
well,
God.
Hector, why didn't you bite it?
Huh? Bite it? Yes. Well, that's what I did do. I bit it. I sunk my teeth deep into it, right to the bone.
And did you win the championship?
Oh, shoot, no. It was my own foot.
It was your own foot? Oh, you that darn young scalawag. You better be getting along now. Ain't got no time to...
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Winterbottom. I've got to see Mr. Peters. I want to make absolutely sure it was Hortense he saw in the drugstore that night. I'm a fair man, Mr. Winterbottom. I want to give her all the benefit of the doubt.
Well, now, supposing it was Hortense, and supposing she was with Major Barnes, I don't see what you can do about it.
Little you know, Mr. Winterbottom, little you know what Hector Smith is when his anger is aroused. Don't forget that. I've got a terrible temper. Oh, gosh, it's just awful. Sometimes it even scares me. Why, when I get mad, Mr. Winterbottom, it takes 4 grown men to hold me. Just think of that, 4 grown men.
4 men?
Yeah, well, of course, if you're short-handed, why, one can do it.
Besides, you couldn't do nothing to Hortense nohow. She's a woman.
Yes, but don't forget another thing, Mr. Winterbottom. I'm a he-man. I'm a caveman. I'll show her where to head in at. You just wait and see.
Don't be a darn fool, Hector. Just
do I care? I'll drag her by the...
Look out.
Who's that coming up the steps?
It's Hortense. Look out now.
Say, I've got something to say to you, Hortense.
Oh, hello, Hector. Well, what is it? I'm in a hurry.
Now, careful, Hector, careful. Don't lose your temper.
Well, I don't think you're treating me right the way you're acting.
The way I'm acting? I don't know what you mean.
Well, going around with Major Barnes, you see, I don't like it.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Well, let me say something to you, Hector Smith. I'll go with whomever I please. Major Barnes is a perfect gentleman, and I feel honored when he asks me to go out with him.
Yes.
And what's more, he's one of the bravest men in the world. Why, he's a famous ace. He saved Paris during the war, brought down a bombing plane single-handed.
Yes, but...
Why, he'd make a dozen of you, Hector Smith, and it's about time that you began to realize
yes,
it.
but I...
And another thing, I don't see that I'm accountable to you anyway as to what company I prefer. I'm my own boss. I do as I please. Who do you imagine you are, anyhow? You're nothing but a village cut-up. You're the joke of the whole town.
Hey,
the very idea. I never heard of such impudence. Trying to tell
Now,
me.
wait a minute, Hortense. Just a minute.
you kids, stop this dad-darn fussing and get out of here.
Yes, you go on, Hector. We'll tend to Hortense. Go on now.
All right, I'll go. But that villain Major Barnes had best beware, because the man who thwarts Hector Smith is doomed.
Yes. Now, listen here. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, too, Hortense, coming in here and starting an argument.
Yeah, you're always starting an argument.
I'm not. But I wasn't going to stand there and allow a clown like Hector Smith to criticize the man who saved Paris all by himself.
Yes, well, what if he did save a parasol for himself?
I didn't save parasol. I didn't.
See, there you go, starting an argument.
Oh, I'm not starting an argument. I only said that Major Barnes saved Paris from an air attack. He told me all about it last night, just how he did it.
Bet it was a dad-darn fake.
How could it be a fake when he has a medal to prove it? Everyone knows he's one of the great heroes of the war. He said he was coming back to camp one night, a little after midnight, when all of a sudden he heard a horse cry and...
Well, what was it crying about?
Who? What was who crying about?
The horse.
It wasn't a horse that cried. It was a sentry. He gave a cry and pointed to something up in the sky. And there was a great big bomber heading straight for Paris. And when Major Barnes, saw it, he ran and got into his own plane and started after it.
After the horse?
No, after the bomber. And as he was going faster than it wasn't long before he got on its tail.
Sure. That's no way to ride a horse on its tail.
Oh, he wasn't riding a horse. What he did was fly. I'm not talking about a horse.
What'd you say he did?
Fly.
Yes, Sheriff, don't be a darn fool. It wasn't Major Barnes that was on the horse's tail. It was a horsefly.
Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Well, then, what was it?
Oh, never mind what it was. Let me have a can of baking soda. I'm in a hurry.
You get it first, Eb.
Yes, just regular baking soda?
Yes, and you can make fun of Major Barnes all you like, but just the same, he's a wonderful aviator and a marvelous businessman. He showed Father how to make 100% on an investment.
Is that so? Your old man better watch out or he'll be getting slickered.
Well, he won't, because he's already made the money. Major Barnes invested it for him, and he's got it all back, plus 100%.
Well, here's your baking soda.
And what's more, he's going to let Father in on an invention of his, too. A big thing, something that before very long is going to be right in the public's eye.
He's inventing it, huh?
Well, what is it, Hortense?
Oh, I'm not at liberty to say. Just charge the baking soda to my father.
Yes, all right, Hortense. Say, Eb, what do you suppose that invention is, anyhow?
Oh, shucks. I know what it is.
You do?
Yeah.
Why, how'd you come to find out?
Oh, that's easy. She said it was something that was going to get in the public's eye, didn't she?
Yes.
It's a grapefruit.
The Texaco service stations and dealers from coast to coast present the Fire Chief Double Quartet. Don Voorhees and the Fire Chief Band. Graham McNamee. And Ed Wynn, the Perfect Fool. I'm going to be the chief, Graham. Yeah? The program it will be different tonight. Wait and see. Say, Chief, I saw you on a new horse. What's his name? Oh, that's the same thing, Graham. The same as you have. Oh, how'd you ever happen to call a horse Graham? Well, it's the very same story, Graham. The horse was born in Kentucky, you know. Yeah? Well, of course, that makes him Kentucky bred. You can understand that. Yeah. Well, as he is Kentucky bred, and as they see the black and the white, I thought I'd call him Graham. That's a good one. Go ahead. Chief, you certainly love dumb animals, huh? Oh, I should say I do, Graham. They can't come too dumb for me. My goodness. I'd like to see your collection of animals sometime, Keith. When are you going to invite me out to your house? Oh, Graham, I didn't want to tell you. I lost my house and everything. Oh, no. Yes, I'm living in the park now, you know. You're living in the park, Steve? Yes, Graham, I'm living in the park. But I take my meals out. Well, Steve, speaking of parks, I'm sending my nephew to the zoo. Is that so, Graham? I'm sending my nephew to Princeton. well, don't the police bother you in the park? Well, Graham, you'd be surprised. The policemen treat me like European royalty. No. Really, they treat me just like a king. They kicked me out of every place. Funny thing happened yesterday, Graham. I lost $15 in the park. Oh, that's too bad, Chief. How did you come to lose $15? Well, I didn't lose it all, Graham. You see, I was sitting in a park, and a $10 bill blew out of my hand and fell on the lawn. Well, that accounts for $10, Chief. Yeah, well, I'll explain the whole thing, Graham. You're so exacting. Go ahead. Go ahead. As I was saying, the $10 bill was lost on the lawn. And a policeman fined me $5 for dropping paper on the grass. Your answers are too much for me, Chief. What's the music? Well, I'll tell you about the music tonight, Graham. It's just so damp and chilly in the park, I thought that tonight we'd have that new sneezing song. You know the title of it, Graham? No, what is it? The name of it is I Took One Look at You. Steve, I'm awfully sorry to see you sleeping in the park. Oh, about sleeping in the park, Graham. Last night I slept in my uncle's house. Oh. That's the same thing, Graham. My uncle keeps pigs in the house, too, you know. You mean to say he keeps pigs right in the house? Well, why not, Graham? He has everything in the house a pig could want. My goodness. Well, Steve, I'd like to meet your uncle sometime. What kind of a man is he? Well, he's a very unusual man, Graham. He's very forgetful. Yeah? I'll give you an idea of it. Last night at dinner, he tied his spaghetti and ate his shoestrings. Just wanted to tell you know. How's your uncle's business, Steve? Oh, his business? Yeah. Oh, my uncle must be taking in an awful lot of money, Graham. I heard today that they just appointed a receiver to help him. Just to help, all right. What business is he in, Steve? Well, my uncle is a traveling salesman. That's the same thing. I thought you knew that, Graham. No. He's a traveling salesman for 5 feet cares, you know. That's so. Oh, he has the Eastern Territory. But it's a very peculiar thing, Graham. Yeah? He's only supposed to sell in the Eastern Territory, you know. But he's got very large feet. Mm-hmm. His feet are so big that the salesmen in the Middle West claim he's stepping in their territory. Do you enjoy living in his home? Yes, I do, but it's awfully noisy in his house, Graham. What? In fact, it's so noisy that every time I write a letter, I unconsciously date it the 4th of July. Go on, Steve. What's the music? So tonight, I'm thinking of the country, so I thought we'd have the new vegetable song. You'll never get the name of it. No. Vegetable song. The title of it is, I Want to Collect You Like I Used to Do. Faith I got, on the rhythmic of sunset illumined my happy hall. While students gather round thine altars with tributes of devotion true. Underneath the merry hearts and voices in praise of NYU. Why are you so late tonight? Oh, well, Graham, this is really strange. I fell asleep on my horse coming down here tonight, Graham. And the lure of my horse knows all alike, so I don't worry, you know. But tonight he stopped on one corner for 25 minutes. He did? Yes, look at that, Graham. He didn't know he was walking in a drugstore window, you know. The matter of fact, he was waiting for the red light in the window to change to green, you know. That's a terrible thing. I had to leave him right there and climb up the rest of the hill all by myself. You know? And still you won't buy a car? No, sir. Why? With Texaco fire keys, the gasoline originally developed for fire engines, no hill could possibly give you trouble. And another thing, too. You'll be here on time, Chief. Graham, I don't want to buy an automobile. I would just stop. Oh, I can't understand you, Chief. What do you think of the new tip like this? Oh, I don't know, Graham. I've never been hit by one of those cars. Chief. I don't know what to... Well, Chief, someday you'll buy a car and find out for yourself what a powerful gasoline Texaco Fire Chief really is. That sounds silly to me. No. I'm using some of that Texaco Fire Chief gasoline in my cigarette lighter, Graham. Well, how does it work, Chief? Oh, it works wonderful, Graham. I get about 60 cigarettes to the gallon out of it. Well, Chief... Anyway, but I tell you, Chief, you'll get real mileage with Texaco Fire Chief in the tank. Yeah. More miles to the gallon. It's a fact. Here's something to remember. What's that? Texaco Fire Chief surpasses the United States government specifications for emergency fuel. Now, that's a fact. Oh, Graham, I don't want to keep harping on the subject. But a thought just came to me. Yeah. What is it? This is for not the people listening in, just between us. Yeah. What costs the most? Texaco Fire Chief gasoline or Texaco Fire Chief gasoline? Oh, well, are you going to keep asking me just forever, just on account of one little mistake? You shouldn't make a mistake, Dad. I'm not keeping asking you for that. You know? But I just want to know, really, which costs the most? Or is there any extra cost to it at all, Graham? You don't pay 1 cent extra for Texaco Fire Chief. That's so. Because it's produced on such a large scale, it can be sold at the same price as ordinary gasoline. Oh, the gasoline might not be expensive to him, but the car itself is very expensive. I'll give you an idea. My uncle bought a car, and they told him it could get repairs for it in every city. And he does. That was very unusual. It would be. You'll never even get over the title. The title of the opera is When You Were 8 and I was 9 and we were 17. Well, it's about a boy and a girl. Yes, actually. The boy's name is J. Weatherstrip Riley. He was born during the World War. And they call him Weatherstrip because he kept his father out of the draft. What do you hear this? Listen, Graham. I want you to hear that this is the best of any of the operas. The boy, Weatherstrip, the boy had so many wrinkles on his forehead, he had to throw his hat on his head. Well, it seems that he is a country boy, and on his 21st birthday, for a present, his uncle sends him a bathtub. But being a country boy, he has never seen a tub before. So he writes his uncle a letter. He says, thanks for the boat, but you forgot the oars. So, it seems that when old man Riley, that's the boy's father, when old man Riley died, he left his son Weatherstrip a large farm and also $1,000. In other words, his entire estate was $1,000. Now, the girl comes to the farm to buy some eggs. That's the girl in the opera. Mm-hmm. The girl says, how much are eggs? And the boy says, 60 cents a dozen. And the cracked eggs are 20 cents a dozen. What do you think the girl said? What did they? The girl said, that's fine. Cut me a dozen of the brown ones. Wait a minute, Graham. They go into the hen house for the eggs, As they enter, they hear a lone rooster talking to a chicken. That's unusual, The rooster is saying to the chicken, says, now listen, chicken, always remember the old saying, a naked day keeps the butcher away. Well, the girl laughs, and the boy says, what is your name? And the girl says, my name is Opium. I was named after my father. And the boy says, Opium? Why, that's a dope. And the girl says, so is my father. Wait a minute. The boy says, may I call you up sometime? And the girl says, yes. My phone number is Aqua 820. And the boy says, 820, that sounds like water. And the girl says, well, I'm living on a houseboat. So they decide to get married. He takes her to the boat. But it seems that the boat has a big, terrific leak in it. And they marry on the leaking boat and settle down. Around the door. Oh, lovely. The rooms are so small in their cottage that their dog has to wag his tail up and down instead of sideways. This dog is, by the way, happens to be an Einstein pup. No one could explain its relativity. Now, wait a minute. Now, the boy, you see, the boy, what do? He will never said the boy never takes his stride out walking anymore. It seems that he has grown so fat that people accuse him of leading a double wife. The wife cooked dinner for him. The husband said, what is that you brought here? And she said, that is canvas back duck. And he said, well, take the canvas back and bring me the duck. But the wife brings him a steak instead. And the steak is so tough that he said to his wife, turn on the radio. Maybe someday in this same Carmen, I feel like a bullfighter. So she starts crying, and the husband rushes over to make up. And the husband kisses her, using the loose lip system. She says, what's the matter, dear? You don't seem to get the same thrill kissing me that you used to. And he said, well, conditions are bad everywhere. Wait a minute, dear, wait. Go ahead, he said to her, he said, what's more? This I want you to listen to. Yeah. He said, what's more? I don't like the taste of your lips tonight. And the wife said, well, that's very strange. I'm using the new fruit-flavored lipstick. Monday night I used apple-flavored lipstick and you liked it. And last night I used the plum lipstick and you said you liked it. And the husband said, I know I did. But tonight I think you gave me the raspberry. Yes, on his bed is dangling a golden charm. It's a piece of an omelette. All during these years, you know, he has changed. His hair is now white on the temples. That's from blowing smoke off his solid roofing. Anyhow, his wife opens the door, and she peeps in. She says, may I come in? And the husband says, certainly. There's always room for one boy. Well, the wife was singing. She says, I sing just to kill time. And he says, well, I heard you, and you've got a great weapon. Well, this gets her so excited that her blood pressure rises. It rises so high that there's snow on the peak. Well, so she said to her husband, how you have changed. You told me when we were married you were going in business for just for yourself. That's what you said. And she also said, she said, you have gone in business for yourself. You became a bum. Well, this makes Riley angry. And he said to his wife, he said, stop raising your teeth around and say something. Wait. Go ahead. The wife says, I'll say something. Look how stingy you are. You bought me the smallest radio that money could buy. Why, our radio is so small, I can only get Amos. I can't even get Andy. Wait. All right. And she said, you're so stingy, look at my clothes. You bought me a fur coat. You told me it was meat, but I know it's cat fur. And he said, how do you know it's cat fur? And she said, I'll tell you how I know it's cat fur. The first day I wore the coat of dog chased me up a tree. Wait a minute. So, their fight becomes so noisy that a policeman runs into the house. Just as the wife picks up a knife. Yes, and he grabs the wife's arm. The policeman takes the husband, he says, who are you? The man says, I am Riley. And as the policeman leads the woman away from the house, he says to her, who are you? And she says, I am Riley's wife. His wife. say? Why do you have that, Chief? Well, I wondered where they get the red gasoline. With those little red lights on the back of the automobile. You know? What's one of that? No, Chief, all gasolines are not alike. I say. No gasoline can make a two-lunger sound like an eight. No gasoline can compensate for poor mechanism. But in the average car, Texaco Fire Chief will give you quicker getaway and more power. That's because Texaco Fire Chief surpasses the United States government specifications for emergency fuel. That's a fact you can't get around. Oh, speaking of getting around things, Graham, my uncle hit a man with his car yesterday. Why didn't he go around and see? Well, that's what I mean, Graham. Wait a minute, will you? Yeah. The man was so fat, my uncle didn't drive around and he was afraid he'd run out of gas. You know, that's another thing, Chief, about Fire Chief gasoline. What's that? It gives you more miles to the gallon. Tell your uncle to drive up to any Texaco service station and fill up with Fire Chief gasoline. Okay. Then check his mileage against any other gasoline he's ever used. I'll do that. And by the way, your uncle should ask about Texaco crack-proof motor oil. He'll hear plenty about this golden oil, the ideal running mate to Texaco Fire Chief gasoline. I'll tell him, Graham.
Bromo Seltzer presents The Adventures of Ellery Queen. Tonight, the makers of Bromo Seltzer bring you another thrilling adventure with Ellery Queen, the celebrated gentleman detective, in person. Ellery Queen again gives you a chance to match wits with him as he relates another story of a crime he alone unraveled. Then, at the point where he was able to solve the mystery, he stops the play, gives you a chance to guess the criminal's name. In the studio tonight, we have as our guests Ken Sears, New York Yankee catcher, and Art Flynn, business editor of the weekly newspaper Sporting News. We'd hoped to have with us, too, the star second baseman of the Yankees, Joe Gordon, but he was unable to join us. However, Messrs. Sears and Flynn have accepted Ellery Queen's challenge to solve the mystery before the solution is revealed. And now, Ellery Queen, master detective, and your host for the next half hour.
Thank you, Ernest Chappell, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In tonight's story, Nicky and I, quite unexpectedly, become involved in the crucial game of the World Series. I call it The Adventure of the World Series Crime.
Series. You all know what's happened. The Eagles won the first 3 games. Then the Larks came back to take the 4th and 5th games, and now the Larks are leading in the 6th game 3-2. Here's the pitch. Ball 4. That's a walk for Henderson. Fills the bases for the Eagles. 2 out. We'll see now. Oh, here's the great Sparks himself coming to bat. Now let's see. Hitt will score 2 runs. The Eagles will win 4-3, and the World Series will be over. But if the Larks can stop Sparky again, the series will be all tied at 3 games apiece, and the payoff game tomorrow, there it is, strike 1, Sparks. You know, everybody's asking what's happened to Sparky. Champion batter of the major leagues, he was an Arkansas tornado in the first 3 series games, hit over 500. won the first 3 games for the Eagles almost single-handed. And then he folded. Here's the pitch. Strike 2. Strike 2. Well, Sparky didn't get a hit in the 4th game or the 5th. And today, in 3 official tries, the great Sparks has popped up once and struck out twice with men in scoring positions. Here it is. 4-1. That's 1 and 2 on Sparky. You know, there's some ugly rumors around, but take it from your Uncle Ted, they're just malarkey. You know, you've heard them. That Sparky's been drugged, Sparks was sold out to the gamblers. It's all... Here it is. Strike 3. Sparky didn't even lift his bat off his shoulder. He's out. Well, that's the game, folks. Ties it up at 3 games apiece. But what's happened to Sparks? Mr. Dayton, owner of the Eagles, wants to know. Mac McClune, fighting manager of the Eagles, wants to know. What's happened to Sparky?
Yeah. No. Just a minute. Mr. Dayton's private office. What? No. Say, listen, Weisenheimer, I'll give it to you in plain English. There ain't no more tickets. Oh. Hello, Mr. McClune.
The boss in, Susie.
Yeah, he's waiting for you. Say, Mr. McClune, I want to tip you off. The boss said me and the boyfriend could see today's game from his box, and, well, you know what that means.
Yeah. As usual, Dayton's ducking out in a pinch.
Yeah, well, the rest of us still think you can lick them bums, Mr. McClune.
Thanks, Susie. You want to see me, Mr. Dayton?
Oh, come in, Mac.
Yeah.
Mac, I am leaving you in complete charge.
Going away today, Mr. Dayton? I notice you have your golf clubs already.
Yes, I'm running up to the country club. I couldn't stand the strain of the final game, Mac. My heart, you know.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll phone you the result.
Well, it's not as if I were running out on you or the team, Mac.
Of course not, Mr. Dayton.
You'll bench Sparks, of course.
Thought you were leaving me in charge.
But, my dear McClune, he's had half a dozen chances to win the series in the last 3 games. And what's he done?
If Sparky goes, I go.
Oh, he couldn't bat a ball with a coal shovel.
Bat a ball. Bat. Oh, what a fool I've been. Of course, the bat.
What are you raving about, Mac?
Look, Mr. Dayton, if your heart can stand the strain of making one phone call before you go out to play golf, just one, mind you, we can still win this series.
A phone call?
I want a detective. Pay any fee he asks, but have him here in 15 minutes.
A detective? What detective, Mac?
The best in the world, Mr. Dayton. If there's one man can save this World Series for us, it's Ellery Queen.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the beginning of our mystery. We'll be back in just a moment to tell you more. But first, Ernest Chappell.
You know, nobody minds hard work these days because we're working for victory. But what are you going to do when you're stopped by a common sick headache? Miss Edith Hyde of Fremont Avenue, Los Altos, California, has the answer to that. She writes,
I work at the Red Cross 7 hours a day, 5.5 days a week, and spend what time I have left practicing my music. This constant work and study is quite a strain, and sometimes I get a common sick headache and my nerves feel on edge. Well, one evening, while listening to your very entertaining Ellery Queen program, I heard your clever, educated train tell about Bromo Seltzer, and I decided to try it the next time I got a headache. Was I delighted with the quick, effective relief I got. Why, in just a short time, my head felt a lot better, and my jumpy nerves began to calm down. I told everyone at the office about it, but most of them informed me that they were already familiar with Bromo Seltzer's grand help and had been relying on it for a long time. Now I'm never without Bromo Seltzer. I keep a bottle in my desk at the office and another at home.
And that's a wise idea for everybody. You know, these days, you never know when you're liable to get a common sick headache. So if you don't already have a big blue bottle of Bromo Seltzer in your home medicine chest, get one tomorrow for sure. And now back to our mystery. In answer to Mac McClune's phone call, Ellery, Nicky, the inspector, and Sergeant Bealey have just arrived.
Hello, Mac.
Hello, Ellery.
You know my father, Inspector Queen.
Inspector.
Hiya, Mac.
Sergeant Veely.
Hi.
And this is my secretary, Nicky Porter.
Hello.
Miss Porter. When they heard you wanted me on a case, Mac, I couldn't shake them off.
Is there anything we can do to help the Eagles win, Mac?
Thanks, Inspector Queen.
We're Eagle fans, all of us.
We need 'em all, Miss Porter.
I got a week's salary on the Eagles, Mac.
You and a flock of others, Sergeant.
Where's Mr. Dayton?
In a place where he won't bother us. Ellery, if you can solve a mystery in 3 hours, we've still got a chance to win. If you can't...
Doesn't sound like Mac McClune talking.
3 hours. Give me the facts.
Well, Ellery, you know ball players. They're all kind of superstitious.
Yeah, remember how Babe Ruth always touched second base on his way in from right field at the end of every inning?
Sparky's worse, Sergeant. He's got a pet bat.
You mean Ellery's got to find one of those nasty things that fly around at night?
Mac's a baseball manager, Nicky, not a zookeeper. He means a baseball bat.
Go on, Mac.
Well, Ellery, with that pet bat of his, Sparky's the greatest hitter in the game today.
Without it, he's just a bummer.
Hold it, Sergeant. Mac, what happened to Spark's bat and when?
Well, the morning after the third game, Sparky told me about it, but it went clean out of my head. Somebody stole his bat.
Aha.
If Sparky gets back his bat, you think he'll snap out of a slump, Mac?
Inspector, I'll eat your badge in the Lark's dugout if he don't.
Ellery's been asked to find stolen jewels, stolen documents, but a stolen baseball bat.
Quiet, Nicky. Mac, was the bat stolen from the clubhouse?
No, Ellery. Sparky was so nervous about it, he wouldn't leave it in the regular bat rack. He took it home with him.
Where does he live?
Well, Sparky got married just before the series.
You mean the World Series is Sparky's honeymoon?
Sort of, Miss Porter. So, Mr. Dayton gives Sparky and Lily, that's Sparky's wife, the use of his apartment during the series. They've been living there.
What are we waiting for? Let's go.
Here's Dayton's apartment, Inspector.
Okay, Mac. Really, you park out here in the hall and watch this front door.
Huh?
We don't want to be disturbed. Go ahead, Ellery. Knock.
Fancy layout.
All right, Inspector. You ain't leaving me out in the cold in a case like this.
Bailey!
Yes, sir.
Mac, come on in. Hello, Sparky. This is Inspector Queen, his son Ellery, and Miss Porter.
Howdy.
Meet the missus. Lily,
Hi,
meet Inspector Queen.
Gee, it's awful good of you folks to help Sparky.
I reckon I'm past being helped, Lily.
Maybe not, Mr. Sparks. When did you first discover your bat was stolen?
Well, Mr. Queen, I always put the bat in the hall closet there. The first thing I woke up the morning of the fourth game, I looked in the closet, and Uncle Sam, that's my pet name for the bat, you see.
Sparky calls everything we own by a pet name, Mr. Queen. There's a skunk back home that bothers the chickens. Sparky calls him Hitler, and I'm beginning to like you, Sparky.
The bat was missing, Sparky, when you first looked in the closet that morning?
No, Inspector. That time Uncle Sam's standing there all right. But then all that morning we have visitors, and when they go away and Lily and me get ready to mosey over to the ballpark, why, I open the closet door and Uncle Sam's gone.
How many visitors did you have?
Wasn't it 3, Lily?
Oh, 4, Sparky. 4 visitors. Well, that means one of them must be the thief.
I reckon so, Miss Porter. I wasn't counting Mr. Dayton, Lily. He's not exactly a visitor, this apartment being his'n.
Mr. Dayton come first. He forgot to take his golf bag with him when he gave up this apartment.
So he comes to pick it up.
Tell Mr. Queen who the other 3 were, Sparky.
Okay, Mac. First there was Pagoli.
Pagoli? The big-time gambler?
I smell a rat.
And what did Mr. Pagoli want?
Well, it's sort of personal.
Oh, now, Sparky, you mustn't hold anything back if you want Mr. Queen to help.
Lily's right, Sparky.
Well, Mac,
now look here, Ellery. Sparky's the idol of sports fans all over the country, and he deserves to be. He sets a good example for the kids. Don't drink, don't smoke, a square shooter, but he's got one weakness that's going to get him in a heap of trouble. It already has.
I know. I read about it in the papers.
Well, that's where Pagoli fits. Gambling.
Looks that way, Dad.
Commissioner had you on the carpet about it, didn't he, Sparky?
Yeah, Inspector.
But Sparky won't listen. He wastes most of his dough paying off.
Oh, gee, I've tried so hard to make him stop. I even refused to marry him until he promised to quit. Only he didn't quit. I reckon you'll have to excuse me.
Lily.
Be a good girl, Nicky, and keep Mrs. Sparks company in the next room.
All right, Ellery.
So you owe Pagoli money, Sparky, and he came here yesterday morning to collect,
When you start talking about gambling, Sparky shuts up like a clam.
Guess who's outside asking to see Sparky, Ellery?
Speak of the devil, Sergeant?
Huh?
big shot Pagoli.
Bring him in, Veely.
All right, Inspector. Step into the parlor, Mr. Fly.
Be careful with your hands, you. Oh, I beg your pardon, Mr. Sparks. I come back tomorrow, eh?
Well, now, I don't know.
Might be too late, Pagoli.
Inspector Queen, I not see you at first.
In an umpire's eye, you not see him.
Be careful how you talk, Mr. Veely.
Sergeant Veely to you, pig.
My business with Mr. Sparks, it can wait. I go now.
Oh, wait, Mr. Pagoli.
What do you want?
Well, seeing how things are, maybe I better tell the truth.
The truth? You told me Pagoli came to see you the other day about the money you owe him, Sparks.
Well, I didn't want to worry you, Mac. Mr. Pagoli here,
take care of what you spill, Hick.
He was willing to forget my IOUs if...
Mr. Sparks, I warn you.
If
what?
If I threw the series, Mr. Queen.
So that's it, Pagoli, you dirty backstabber.
Drop that right, Pagoli. Oh, it's dropped. Now I'll give you a demonstration of the famous Veely. Say, Uncle. That's better.
Fireworks over? Now, Mr. Pagoli, did you have any bundles or packages with you when you visited this apartment the other day?
All of a sudden, now talk English, huh?
No, he didn't have, Mr. Queen.
You're sure, Sparky? Did he wear a topcoat?
No, sir.
Okay. Let him out, Veely. Put a tail on him, though. I think we'll be seeing more of Mr. Pig.
Come on, Pig. Back to your stuff.
Sparky, who were the other two visitors you had? Who came after Pagoli?
After Mr. Pagoli comes Collins.
Collins? Manager of the Larks?
Yep, and after Collins comes Buck Fisher.
Fisher's the first baseman on your own team, Mac, isn't he?
Yeah. Sparky beat Buck out of the batting championship by 3 points.
Less than 2 hours left. Time's running out. Dad, you and Mac tackle manager Collins of the Larks. Nicky and I will call on the vanquished Eagle batsman Buck Fisher.
You'll find both of them at the stadium now, Ellery.
Good. That saves us time. Dad, we check with each other at the stadium. Sparks can give us the other details on the way over. Hurry.
Collins, we've known each other since the old Sandlot days. We don't have to spar around.
Well, what's on your mind, Inspector?
Collins, why did you, the manager of the opposition team, drop in to see Sparks, the star batter of Mac's team, during the World Series?
It's your little idea, Mac? Trying to frame me just before the start of the last game?
You know me better than that, Collins.
Okay. Inspector, I ran up to see Sparky about our bet.
What bet?
$2,000, even money on the World Series winner.
Sparky bet his team to win, Collins?
That's a hot one. Did you ever hear of Sparky betting against himself? Sure, he bet on his team. With his team taking the first 3 games, I thought Sparky might be willing to raise the ante. At big odds, of course. But no soap.
Sparky said no?
He was willing, Mac, but his wife said nix.
Collins, were you wearing a top coat that morning?
Who, me? A top coat in this weather?
Did you have any bundles with you?
Criminy, no. Say, what's this all about anyway?
Forget it. Come on, let's go, Mac.
Just a minute, Inspector. Collins.
Yeah, Mac?
Who you pitching today?
See tonight's paper.
There's the door to the Eagles' locker room, Nicky.
Yes, and there comes an Eagle.
Excuse me, are you Buck Fisher?
Yeah? See you out in the field, fellas. Okay.
Who are you?
What? Don't you know Ellery Queen?
Never heard of him, lady. Hey, you're not the new sports writer for the Herald, are you?
Strike. No, Fisher, I'm a detective.
Detective? What goes?
A few simple questions, Mr. Fisher. Why did you pay a visit to Sparks the morning of the 4th game?
Well, Sparky and I had a bet all season on who'd wind up with the best batting average. Sparky won by 3 points. 10 is Hyde.
And I saw him do it. Made 5 hits in the last game of the season.
So what?
So, why'd you drop in to see Sparky that morning, Fisher?
Oh, we had another bet. Who'd get the most hits in the series? Sparky hit like a house afire the first 3 games, but I figured he'd fold. So that morning I comes up and I says, Sparky, how about doubling the bet?
Did he, Fisher?
He says yes, but his wife says no. So what's the matter, Sparky? Cold feet? Well, Sparky says okay. Yeah, then his wife starts the waterworks, so I beat it. But the double bet's on. Oh, there's a signal for batting practice. I gotta go out and clout a couple.
Oh, Mr. Fisher?
Yeah?
did you wear a top coat that morning or carry any packages?
What? No.
Miss Porter, why did you ask Fisher those last two questions?
If you can ask him of Pagoli, Mr. Queen, I can ask him of Fisher.
That's what I thought. Come on, Miss Copycat. Let's find Dad.
Inspector, you learned exactly as much from Collins as Ellery and I did from Buck Fisher.
Yeah, Nicky, a great big goose egg.
Ellery, the game will be starting in a few minutes. Are we getting anywhere?
Well, Sergeant.
We haven't even got to first base. Ellery, we're no nearer finding that bat than when we started.
I wouldn't say that, Dad.
Ellery, don't tell me you know where...
Yes, I know where Sparky's bat is, Nicky. There's only a 50-50 chance it's still there. Dad, step aside with me. I'll tell you what to do. Now, you telephone.
Ellery and his pesky secrets.
Yeah. I wonder what's cooking.
Nearly 2 hours since Dad made that phone call, Nicky, and no sign of anybody.
You wear out the sidewalk, Ellery.
2 hours waiting at the ball player's entrance, and we could have been inside with Dad and Veely watching the game. Dad, what inning is it?
Last of the ninth, son.
What's the score now, Sergeant?
Still the same, Miss Porter. 1-0 favor of the Larks.
Oh, give up, Ellery. It's too late now. You must have been wrong this time.
Nicky, I tell you I wasn't wrong. I couldn't have been. Oh, how can I go in there and face Mac McClune without that pet bat of Sparky?
Well, you can't do the impossible, Ellery. He gave you only a few hours. What's that?
Nicky, this is it.
What, a police call? But Ellery...
You, Ellery Queen?
Yes?
Here it is. The bat.
Mac, we've got it.
Are we in time, Mr. McClune?
By the snakes of St. Patrick, it is. It's Sparky's bat. Hey, Sparks! Floyd, call Sparky back. He's on his way to the plate.
Right. Wait for the police department.
Hank, how's it stand?
Oh, we're behind, Inspector. Same as yesterday. 1-0. Last the ninth. Bases full, 2 out, and Sparky up. Sparks!
Sparks get a hit. Any hit will drive in 2 runs.
And we win.
Sparky, take the lead out of your feet.
Hey, what is it, Mac? You're not benching.
Your bat, Sparky. Your own bat. Here. Now go on out there and use it.
Uncle Sam. Don't you worry, Mac. Good old Uncle Sam won't let you down. One side, fellas.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the mystery and I hope a solution as well. Nicky, will you be good enough to introduce our guest armchair detectives for this evening?
Well, Ellery, our guests tonight are certainly the right men to try to solve this mystery, because both of them know just about all there is to know about baseball. And when I tell you who they are, you'll see what I mean. Our first guest is Ken Sears, catcher of the New York Yankees and son of Ziggy Sears, famous National League umpire. You can be sure that when the Yankees meet the St. Louis Cardinals for the first World Series game October 5th, more than a few eyes will be watching Ken Sears.
All right, Nicky, I'll agree the first guest knows baseball. But what about the second?
Well, our second guest isn't a ball player, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know about baseball. He's Art Flynn, business manager of the Sporting News, the Bible of the baseball world. Mr. Flynn has been with the Sporting News for 16 years and has covered every World Series in that time. Mr. Flynn says that the Sporting News has a tremendous international circulation, since so many of its old readers are now in the service, but still yelling for their copies. And, incidentally, they get them. And now, Ellery?
Mr. Sears, I have 2 questions for you this evening. Number 1, where did I find Sparky's bat? And 2, who stole it?
Well, Mr. Queen, I believe you found that bat in Mr. Dayton's golf bag.
Mr. Dayton's golf bag. And how did it get there?
Well, I believe Mr. Dayton visited Sparky's apartment that morning, and I believe he stole that bat and went out to the golf course to play golf and missed that last game of the World Series.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Mr. Sears. And now, Mr. Flynn, where did I find Sparky's bat and who stole it?
I think I've got to agree with Ken Sears, Ellery, that he found it in the golf bag because no one had a top coat. And secondly, I'd say that that the person that put it there was Lily, the wife, because when they were talking about if he threw the series and she walked out and said no when they wanted to double his bet, it's a case of that famous French saying, cherchez la femme.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Flynn and Mr. Sears. You'll have to wait a moment to find out whether you've solved tonight's mystery correctly. And in the meanwhile, here's Ernest Chappell, who, it develops, is up on his modern slang.
Ellery means I'm hep to the jive, I suppose. And all because I happened to mention to him that when you have a headache, you just can't be on the beam. In other words, you don't feel 100%. But if you're hep, that is to say, if you know your way around, the chances are that you know our Bromo Seltzer gives quick, effective relief from the three-way misery that may often accompany a common sick headache. Yes, Bromo Seltzer acts three ways: on head, nerves, and stomach. Try Bromo Seltzer the next time you have a common sick headache. See how quickly it has you cooking with gas. Or, as we old fogies say, feeling more like your old self again.
Where did you find the bag?
That was simple, Nicky, once I knew the facts. Only 4 people, Dayton, Pagoli, Collins, and Fisher, visited Sparky between the last time he saw the bat in the closet and the time he saw it was gone. So obviously, one of those 4 stole the bat from the apartment.
Well, I said that long ago, Ellery, but which one?
The important question wasn't who took the bat, Nicky, but how. How was the bat taken out of the apartment under Spark's nose without Spark seeing it?
Strike one.
After all, a bat is a sizable object, 36 inches long and a solid hunk of hickory.
So that's why you asked about the packages and the top coats, huh?
Right, Dad. But none of the 4 visitors carried a package or wore a top coat. The top coat idea was a shot in the dark. Actually, you can't conceal a 36-inch baseball bat under a coat, or inside a trouser leg for that matter, and still walk like a human being. Yet the bat was taken from the apartment. How?
Ball one.
There was one article taken out of that apartment that was big enough to conceal a 36-inch baseball bat.
But Spark said nothing went out, sir.
Wrong, Dad. Spark said one thing did go out. Remember? Dayton's golf bag.
Dayton? The owner of the Eagles? The one who lent the Sparks' his apartment?
That's right. Dayton came back for his golf bag, Sparky said.
And with the top zippered over, it'd hold a baseball bat and not be seen.
No! Strike 2.
Now, either Dayton put the bat in his golf bag or someone else did. If Dayton were the thief, the first thing he'd do once he was out of the hotel was get rid of the bat. But if someone else put the bat into Dayton's bag and Dayton hadn't yet looked inside, the bat would still be there.
So, Nicky, Ellery told me to phone the chief of police nearest to Dayton's country club. Chief rushed to the club, found Dayton's bag still unopened, and the bat inside.
So Mr. Dayton can't be the thief.
And there's ball 2.
Then who stole the bat? Who did it? Well, who hid it in Dayton's golf bag?
Well, who was in the apartment when Dayton took away his bag? Not Pagoli, not Collins, nor Fisher. None of them had arrived yet. Only 2 people were there besides Dayton, Sparks and his wife. Did Sparky steal his own bat? Would he deliberately get rid of the one thing he needed most to win his bet?
No. Couldn't be Sparks.
Then it must be... You mean his own wife?
Mrs. Sparks stole that bat?
She's the only one left, so Sparky's wife must be the thief.
Ball 3, Maestro.
For Pete's sake, Ellery, why?
Mrs. Sparks.
Yes, Mr. Queen.
Will you come here, please?
You were wanting me, Mr. Queen.
You've heard what I just said.
Mrs. Sparks. Lily, why did you do it?
Oh, gee, I thought if Sparky lost his pet bat, he'd lose his bets. And Collins and Fisher and Pagoli and all the others. I thought that would cure him. But I didn't realize what it would mean to Mac and to Sparky's teammates and all the fans. I was scared to admit it.
Doggone it, a foul.
Ellery, do we have to tell Sparky?
If everything comes out all right, I don't see why, Nicky.
Oh, you're a darling.
Don't forget Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam came through in the clutch, and he always will. And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the solution to the mystery. I want to thank Mr. Sears and Mr. Flynn for appearing as guest armchair detectives this evening. We want especially to compliment Mr. Flynn on his skill in solving the crime. We have for both Mr. Sears and Mr. Flynn a personal gift from Bromo Seltzer, also an autographed copy of my latest mystery anthology, The Female of the Species, and a subscription to Ellery Queen's Mystery Magazine.
In just a minute, Ellery will be back to tell you about next week's mystery. Meanwhile, here's a friendly tip from an old pal, our famous talking Bromo Seltzer train.
Fight headache 3 ways. Bromo Seltzer, Bromo Seltzer, Bromo Seltzer, Bromo Seltzer.
Why, yes, fight headaches 3 ways with Bromo Seltzer. You see, common sick headaches may often affect you 3 ways: pounding head, nerves that jingle, jangle, jingle, and upset stomach. So it seems sensible to take Bromo Seltzer, which is scientifically designed to fight all 3. Yes?
Bromo Seltzer gives quick relief from that pain in your head. Bromo Seltzer helps calm jumpy nerves. Bromo Seltzer helps settle upset stomach.
Now you can take Bromo Seltzer while it's still fizzing or after it settles down. Use it only as directed on the label. For frequent or recurring headaches, see your doctor.
When it's a common sick headache that has you feeling miserable, let our talking train tell you how to lick it.
Fight headache 3 ways. Bromo Seltzer, Bromo Seltzer, Bromo Seltzer, Bromo Seltzer, Bromo Seltzer.
Say, Ellery, come on back here a minute. You got anything to say before we close up this shop?
Yes, I have, Chappie.
Well?
Ladies and gentlemen, because you had asked for them, during the summer months, we brought you what we felt were the best of the Ellery Queen mysteries broadcast during the last 5 years. Tonight's story marks the end of these command performances. For with next Saturday's mystery, we will again bring you brand new Ellery Queen adventures.
The Shenley Laboratories, producer of Penicillin Shenley and Shenley Pharmaceuticals, presents the Encore Theater. The Encore Theater play tonight, Dark Victory. Our stars are Franchot Tone and Susan Peters. Tonight, Shenley Laboratories presents another in a new series of great dramatic programs. Some of our stories are fact, the struggles and accomplishments of great men of medicine. Others are fiction, stories of devotion to an ideal, individual heroism, or great courage. By these programs, Shenley Laboratories would remind you that medical science and progress is not cold, impersonal research or pages of statistics, but a warm human story told in living terms, whether it's the life of one of medicine's immortals or the everyday record of service rendered by your own physician. And now, Dark Victory, starring Susan Peters as Judith Traherne and Franchot Tone as Dr. Fred Steele.
Now, look, Dr. Parsons, I'm sorry, but I've closed my office for good. I built a little laboratory on my farm up in Vermont, and I've been waiting 9 years to get started on my research.
Well, don't tell me you've been bitten by the bug for scientific research.
Something like that.
On what?
Cells. Brain cells. Tell me, why do healthy cells suddenly go berserk and grow wild? Do you know?
No.
Neither does anyone. We call them tumors, gliomas, cysts, cancers. We operate and cure with a knife. But one of these days, someone's going to find a serum that'll be to these growths what antitoxin is to diphtheria.
Well, can't you put off leaving and see this girl? She's desperately ill. I've been watching her like a hawk, and she's losing ground each day. Confound it, you're always talking about the obligation of doctors to humanity. Well, there's humanity waiting for you in the reception room.
Well, all right, I'll have a look at the girl. But I warn you, I'm taking that train. I'm not going to be stuck here another 9 years.
I'll have her come in. Oh, Fred, you may find her a bit, defiant. She didn't want to come. She's trying desperately to convince herself and me that nothing's wrong with her.
All right, let me see her.
Come in, Judith. This is Dr. Steele.
How do you do, Dr. Steele?
How do you do? And now will you please excuse me? I have to run over to the hospital.
Sit down, Mr. Hearn. Dr. Parsons tells me you're a great hunter. You don't look like a hunter.
Well, you could hardly expect me to enter your office leading a pack of hounds.
Hardly. Well, tell me about yourself.
I'm 23 years old, an only child. I weigh 115 pounds stripped. I've had mumps, measles, and whooping cough, all at the proper ages. Is that all?
All the inconsequential facts.
What are the consequential ones?
Does that light bother you?
No.
Do you use your eyes a great deal?
I generally keep them open, Doctor.
That light is in your eyes. I'll lower the shade.
I wish you wouldn't keep harping on that. There's nothing the matter with my eyes.
You're squinting. There, that's better.
Suit yourself. It's your office.
What did you do yesterday?
I went to the theater in the afternoon. I played bridge in the evening.
Other way around, wasn't it?
Why, yes, I guess it was.
What was the play? Cyrano, wasn't it?
Yes, why?
Did you like it?
Well, you see,
You had a headache, didn't you? How long have you had these headaches?
Oh, I don't have them.
You have one now.
No, I have not.
How did you come out at bridge yesterday?
Well, let me
Quickly.
think. I don't remember.
You've been losing a lot lately, haven't you?
Why do you ask me these stupid questions? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm well, absolutely well. I'm young and strong, and nothing can touch me. Neither you nor Dr. Parsons can make an invalid out of me. Now I'm going. I'm sorry to have wasted so much of your time.
You're running away because you're frightened, aren't you?
That's not true.
Oh, yes, it is. That's why you held certain things back from Dr. Parsons. You were afraid to admit them. You've been having those headaches for months. They've been getting worse lately, and your eyes have been cutting up, too. Just as though someone were shutting a pair of folding doors until your vision's almost cut in half. You pretended it was imagination, but it isn't. You can't concentrate. You're irritable because your nerves are all on edge. You're afraid to admit it, but you can't deny it.
It's a lie. I'm well. Oh, why do you bully me like this?
Because I want to help you. Won't you let me?
How about your train to Vermont?
There'll be other trains to Vermont. I want to examine you now. Take some x-rays.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry I was so difficult.
I like the way you fought back at me. You've been a good sport. Come on, now let's see what we can find out about this head of yours.
Well, Fred?
It is glioma, Dr. Parsons.
I was afraid of that.
We'll have to operate immediately, of course, but...
There'll be a recurrence?
Yes. Well, you know all the men I called in for consultation. They were all of the same opinion.
And that means?
Approximately 10 months.
She'll be an invalid in the meantime, I suppose?
No, this is a rare case. She'll apparently be as well as any of us. That is, until... Well, her sight may fail near the end. There'll only be a little time after that.
Fred, I don't know what to say. I love that girl.
So do I.
Are you going to tell her?
Would you want her to know?
No.
That's your answer.
Ready in surgery, Dr. Steele.
Fred?
Yes, Judith.
Will I be all right, Fred?
Yes, darling. You'll have a complete surgical recovery.
That's good. Fred, when you got inside my head, did you find any sense in it?
How do you like this hat, Anne? Well, I like each of the other 12. Say, you've certainly gotten fussy since that operation. One day out of bed and you're going through those hats like a cyclone.
Oh, I want to look my best. We're going to meet Fred at 5. Oh, I want to look so dazzling that he won't look at another girl.
Judith, you're in love with him.
Does it show?
Oh, does it show? Just take a good look in that mirror. Oh, has he given you any encouragement?
Not a ripple on the water. Oh. It's awful. But it's wonderful. I've got something to live for now. Something to hope for. Anne, the next time he comes over, any time there's a lull in the conversation, you might just mention what a good wife I'd make and what an ideal mother.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have an appointment with him this afternoon in his office. I'll toss it in the conversation and let you know the results, if you're serious.
I'm horribly afraid. I'm terribly serious.
Well, it couldn't happen to a nicer girl.
Well, you take these powders, Mrs. Robertson. You'll be all right.
Dr. Steele, I've only known you since Judith's operation, but I've known her and loved her most of her life. May I take the liberty of an old friend?
Yes, of course.
Does Judith mean anything more to you than just a patient?
Very much more.
Marriage would mean to her a home, children, plans for the future. Could you watch her growing happier every day with this thing creeping up behind her back? Could you stand that?
It isn't a question of what I could stand. The only thing that matters now is that she should be happy every hour. All my life, I've told people what to do. Now, I don't know what to do. I love her, and I don't know what to do.
Oh, hello, Mr. Hearn. Dr. Steele had to go out on a case. He wants you to wait. He didn't think he'd be long after 5.
All right, Miss Wainwright. I'll sit down here at the desk and wait.
Oh, do you mind if I finish packing the books in the reception room?
Not at all. Do you think he's really going to Vermont this time?
I don't know. I've given up trying to guess. I'm just going to have everything ready just in case.
He's going to be a great scientist. Case history folder. Judith Traherne. Well, this looks interesting. Might as well spend my time reading about myself.
What did you say, Mr. Hearn?
Nothing, just doing a little reading. My dear Dr. Steele, a study of the case history of Miss Judith Traherne and an examination of the tissue sample sent me lead me to concur with your diagnosis. The prognosis is definitely poor. Death in such cases is... Miss Wainwright?
Yes?
What does prognosis mean?
Why, it means what the future of a case looks like.
What does prognosis poor mean?
It means hopeless. Why did you ask? What are you reading?
My case history, Miss Wainwright. My case history. Tell the doctor that I couldn't wait. Tell him that I had nothing to see him about after all.
Oh, Mr. Hearn, please wait. These things don't necessarily...
Just tell Dr. Steele thanks. And goodbye.
In a moment we shall return to our play, Dark Victory. But first, a message of importance concerning the miracle drug of our time. Ladies and gentlemen, you, and most other people, realize that the early production of penicillin was beset by countless difficulties. But do you also realize that the expansion of production facilities for penicillin has resulted in more than increased quantities, has permitted the development of new forms of penicillin as well? When Shenley Laboratories, along with 20 other firms, was designated by the United States government to produce penicillin for the saving of lives on both battlefront and home front, the miracle drug was manufactured only in its original powdered form. Today, however, the Shenley Laboratories program of continuing research has developed additional specialized penicillin products that your doctor may, in his judgment, prescribe as penicillin troches and tablets for administration by mouth, penicillin ointment to be directly applied to affected skin surfaces, and ophthalmic ointment for treating certain infections of the eye. In the spirit of medical progress, Shenley salutes at this time the extensive experimentation which has brought the boon of many new cures to all mankind. In addition, Shenley Laboratories pledges itself to continue its extensive program of research in the field of pharmaceuticals, with the purpose ever before it of placing more and greater healing aids in the hands of your doctor. Now we return to our play, Dark Victory, starring Francho Tone and Susan Peters.
Why aren't you laughing, Alec? I came out with you because I thought you'd be gay and laughing.
All right, I'll be gay and laughing. What should we laugh about?
How about life? Life and the things it does to us. When we think we're on top, we're on the bottom. When we start making plans about all the years we're going to live, we find we haven't any left.
What are you talking about?
So here you are, Judith. I've been hunting all over town. Did you forget you had a date with me?
I suddenly found I didn't have time to keep it.
Hello, Dr. Steele. Sit down.
Yes, sit down. Join the party. The more the merrier. Let's keep everything as merry as possible. A short life, but a merry one, I always say. What do you always say? I've been meaning to ask you, Doctor. Was I a specimen case? Will I make the medical journal?
Judith, I don't...
Why didn't you tell me?
What's this all about?
Tell him what it's all about. Explain to Alec about prognosis poor. A few months of pretending you're well, then blindness. Then so long, my friend.
Judith, don't talk
like
that.
Oh, stop it, Fred. It's no longer necessary to humor the patient. You'd have done anything to make me happy, wouldn't you? Even married me, if necessary, out of pity. Oh, you're very kind. But thank you so much. It won't be necessary. You see, I'm not in your care anymore.
You'll always be in my care. Judith, I hadn't thought to say it here, under these circumstances, but I do want to marry you. I love you. I want to marry you.
Why? What for? What's the point? What's the reason?
Judith, don't do this. Don't strike back at me this way. I want you to find peace. We all have to die. The tragic difference is that you know when and we don't. The important thing is the same for all of us. To live our lives so we can meet death when it comes decently, beautifully, finely.
I'll die as I please. Come on, Alec. Let's get out of here. Let's go someplace where there's more laughs.
Judith.
Goodbye, Fred. Sorry I can't stay longer, but I'm sure you understand. I just haven't the time.
Hi, Miss Judith. What are you doing down here in the stables at this hour of the night?
I couldn't sleep. I just got in from a party, and I didn't feel like going to bed. Saw your light. I thought you might like some company.
Yeah. Sit down. Make yourself comfortable.
Thanks. How's Challenger?
He's a good horse. You were right about him.
I can tell a champion every time. Oh, I'm so tired, Michael.
You've been going too hard. For weeks now, it's been party after party. If you'll forgive my saying so, it's a great waste of time.
Waste of time? Well, why do you say that?
We only live once, Miss Judith.
That's right. Only once. Talk to me, Michael. I need someone to talk to tonight. Talk to me as one human being to another. Talk to me as a man. Are you happy, Michael?
Is anybody?
Are you afraid to die, Michael?
I wouldn't want to die while you're alive.
You're making love to me.
You invited me to talk to you as a man. One thing I know. I'm a lot better than a lot of them that's playing around with you.
Are you, Michael?
Yeah. If you only knew the things I've wanted to say to you ever since the first time I came to work for you.
Say them, Michael.
Have you any idea at all what you're saying, Miss Judith? I think we're both a little crazy tonight.
You're right. We are a little crazy. And you're right about something else. I can't go on this way. Tonight it would be you, and after tonight, someone else, and on until the last hour. Michael, I can't die like that.
Die? What are you talking about?
I'm going to die in a few months, Michael. Does that frighten you?
Heaven forgive you for saying a thing like that.
Yes. Heaven forgive me. When it comes, it's got to be met finely and beautifully, doesn't it? Michael, thank you. Thank you for waking me up.
Judith.
Hello, Fred. Look here, I came over to say that I'm sorry. I hope you don't mind the unorthodox hour.
Come in, Judith.
Oh, I've been such a fool, darling. I've been such a fool.
That happens to all of us periodically.
If only you let me see you sometimes.
You're going to. Every day. You're coming to Vermont with me. All this time I've been waiting for you, counting the moments.
A moment is all we have.
It's all lovers ever have. A few perfect hours. I tried to explain that to you before.
What will this do to you? The shadow's fallen on my earth. It mustn't fall on yours.
Your shadow's mine. And your victory over it will be mine, too.
I'm afraid it will be a dark victory.
Judith, darling, you look wonderful. Vermont agrees with you. Oh, but look, I haven't seen Fred yet.
Oh, I'd forgotten. He's working in there. You go on in and talk to him. I've got to see about dinner.
All right.
Come in.
Hello, Fred.
Anne. Oh, it's good to see you. I'm sorry I couldn't get away to meet you at the train, but we're working on an experiment.
Oh, I know. You just couldn't tear yourself away from the microbes, huh?
How does Judith look to you?
Oh, just like a bride of 2 months should look. Radiant. Fred, is there a chance for her?
No.
Does she realize?
Yes. All my life I've seen people suffer and seen them die. But I've never seen anyone like her. From what deep well she draws her courage, I can only wonder. Well, you saw her. She laughs, sticks out her chin. She can take it.
But she must think that there's
No, she doesn't think. It's forgotten. That's our pact. We never mention it, and you mustn't either. You'll want to, but you mustn't. Not even with your eyes. You're in the pact, too.
I'll try.
Isn't this a nice garden, Anne?
Beautiful.
Pretty soon I'll be all in bloom. There'll be roses over that arbor over there, and hey, hey, look how it's clouding up. It must be going to rain.
But Judith, it's not.
It's getting darker by the second. Well, Anne, look how dark it's getting.
Yes. Yes, I see, dear.
Anne, I can still feel the heat of the sun. Anne.
No, it isn't true. There are clouds. The sun has gone.
It's all right, Anne. Anne, it's all right.
Hey, out there, I got some news. We're going to New York. They just read me a wire over the phone. Come on in, I'll show you.
Judith, you can't go.
Don't tell him. Maybe it isn't anything. Come on.
Hey, read this. A wire from Fisher in Philadelphia. Martha took it down.
Yes, of course, darling.
Well?
It's very nice.
Nice? Is that all?
Well, you read it, Anna. I never could read Martha's writing.
Dr. Frederick Steele, Brattleboro, Vermont. Wild with excitement over your latest report. Biological tests convince me you may be on right road with isolation.
Isolation, you see? Choke off the oxygen. No, you two wouldn't understand.
Believe we should present material at board meeting in New York tomorrow. Please wire. My enthusiastic congratulations, Fisher.
Oh, it's wonderful, darling. Isn't it, Anne? Oh, excuse my lack of enthusiasm. I was bowled over for a moment.
Sure, don't I know? I'm in the clouds myself. I wired Fisher I'd meet him at 10 in the morning. I've got to hurry and get packed. Martha's got your bags already.
You're going to tell him.
And keep him from going? No, I wouldn't dream of it. This means everything in the world to his career and his future. His life must go on.
Judith, come up here a moment, will you?
Anne, please. Just go on as though nothing had happened. Please. I know what's best.
All right, darling. Whatever you say.
Judith!
Coming!
Where did Martha hide my shirts this time?
Darling, I don't think I'll go. You'll be busy, and I'd just be sitting around the hotel room and...
Nonsense. A couple of days in New York will do you good.
Please, darling, don't force me to go.
Force you? Well, of course, honey, it's anything you want, but...
New York would bore me. Really, it would. This is my home now. I'd rather stay here.
Judith, you're trembling.
Am I? Well, it's the first time we've been separated. Mayn't a girl get a little sentimental?
I'm not going.
Darling, are you worried about me?
Every moment you're not in my sight.
You needn't be. Anne's here.
Yes, but if anything should happen...
It won't. But even so, I'm not afraid anymore. Hey, didn't we agree we wouldn't talk about it? I used to be afraid. I died 1,000 times. The next time, death will come as an old friend, gently and quietly.
Oh, Judith.
We've had so much, Fred. If we lived to be 100, we could have no more. Darling, you've done so much for me.
Judith, I don't want to go on living without you.
You must. You must go on with your work. Oh, darling, I'm so proud of that. What a great thing it is to be a doctor and a scientist. And what a proud thing to heal pain and save lives. You have so much to give to the world, Fred. I don't want my death to be futile and meaningless. I want you to wipe out this thing that is going to take me away from you. You must. And you will.
Darling, I'll try.
Nothing can hurt us now. For what we've had can never be destroyed. That's our victory over the dark. And it's a victory because we're not afraid.
Thank you, Judith.
Oh, now, come on. You've got to hurry. You take your bag, and I'll take your hat and coat.
You certainly packed in a hurry. Oh, I brought the car around the front for you.
You'll take care of everything, Anne.
Hurry, darling. Now you've got to drive like mad.
Goodbye, darling. You know where to reach me if you need me.
Mind yourself in the big city.
Bye.
Bye.
Did we plant any hyacinths yet, Anne?
Yes. No, I don't know.
Would you go out now and plant some? They're his favorite flowers. They should do well in this soil. The garden will be very beautiful in June with everything blooming. You'll take good care of my flowers, won't you? Yes. Go on. Plant them now.
Do you think I'd leave you, darling?
You must. Please understand, Anne, that no one must be here. No one. I have to prove to him that I can do it alone. Maybe it will help him over some bad moments in the future to remember it. I'm going up now and sleep. There used to be a prayer. Do you remember it? If I should die.
Now, I lay me down to sleep.
Yes, that's it.
I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should
die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. That's a beautiful prayer, isn't it? I haven't thought of it in years. Good night, Anne.
Good night, Judith.
Ladies and gentlemen, before Franchot Tone comes back to the microphone, may we leave this thought with you. All of us take for granted our feeling of confidence in our own doctor. Could there be any greater tribute to the medical profession than this fact, that we do take for granted the confidence we feel in its members? Shenley Laboratories presents this series of programs in honor of America's doctors. And now, Franchot Tone.
Ladies and gentlemen, to sum up the spirit of this program, the simple and beautiful prayer of the physician, written centuries ago by Maimonides, seems to me to be apt and fitting. The eternal providence has appointed me to watch over the life and death of all thy creatures. May I always see in the patient a fellow creature in pain. Grant me strength and opportunity always to extend the domain of my craft. This is the prayer of the physician. It's ages old, Yet today, it is as new as the hope for a peaceful way of life for all the world. May we invite you to listen again next week at the same time when Shenley Laboratories presents A Man to Remember, starring Mr. Lionel Barrymore, a great star in a great story. Good night.
Dark Victory was produced and directed by Bill Lawrence and was presented through the courtesy of Warner Brothers, who this year is celebrating the 20th anniversary of Sound Pictures. It was a Gene Holloway adaptation. Susan Peters appeared through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of the Technicolor musical Holiday in Mexico. This is Frank Graham speaking for Shenley Laboratories, producer of Penicillin Shenley, and inviting you to listen next Tuesday at the same time when you will hear Mr. Lionel Barrymore in A Man to Remember. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Allied base in New Guinea. Autolite brings you Everything for the Boys, the Command Theater of the Air, starring Mr. Ronald Colman, and his guests for tonight, Loretta Young and Edna Beth. Everything for the Boys is presented by the Electric Autolite Company and its 22 great manufacturing plants. Builders of precision equipment for 35 years. World famous for Autolite spark plugs, batteries, wire, cable, and electrical systems for automotive, aviation, and marine use. And here is your host, Mr. Ronald Colman.
Thank you and good evening. Well, to begin with, I haven't forgotten Elvira. I remember her very distinctly indeed. I remember how fascinating she was and how maddening. I remember her physical attractiveness, which was tremendous, and her spiritual integrity, which was nil. I beg your pardon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting ahead of myself. That is part of our story. Tonight, Loretta Young and Edna Beth join me in presenting the radio premiere of Noel Coward's gay comedy, Blithe Spirit. Later, if luck is with us, we will talk by shortwave with 2 American soldiers at a base in New Guinea. It is to them and to all the members of the armed forces that we dedicate this global half hour.
No 3 on a match, they said in the last war, but in this present struggle, it's no matches at all. The slightest flash of light is enough for that enemy sniper or that bomber overhead. Yes, war calls for extremely careful lighting, the elimination of glare. This includes headlights for supply trucks, combat cars, and tanks, as well as matches. And that's where the men and women of Autolite, peacetime builders of headlights for cars and trucks, have helped supply the answer. They build blackout lamps that give light without glare, that are shielded from enemy observers above, and yet afford enough visibility to permit careful night driving and avoid accidents. Yes, in helping keep the enemy in the dark, Autolite is contributing to the safety of our soldiers as they convoy supplies to the firing line. The building of such blackout lamps for fighting vehicles is another reason the name Autolite means precision manufacturing. The play, Noel Coward's comedy, Blithe Spirit. The scene, the home of Charles Kent and his second wife, Ruth. The time, evening.
Edith.
Yes, ma'am.
Remember when Madame Arcati gets here, Mr. Kent and I don't want to be disturbed.
Yes, ma'am.
Any sign of the great mystic yet?
No, Charles.
Well, if tonight's session with this wonderful medium is a success, I shall start on the first draft of my new book tomorrow.
Charles.
Mm-hmm.
About your work.
Huh?
Do you ever wish that you had Elvira as a wife to help you instead of me?
Now, what a question.
But you always said she helped you with your writing.
My dear Ruth, I was devoted to Elvira. We were married for 5 years. She died. I missed her very much. That was 7 years ago. I have now, with your help, my love, risen above the whole thing.
Oh.
That's probably Madame Arcati.
Well, I still don't understand what you're going to get from her for your book.
Well, it's been many years since I went to a seance. I want to refresh my memory.
Madame Arcati to see you.
Hello. These are the Kents, I believe. The dear Kents.
Yes, I am dear Charles Kent, and this is my wife.
Madame Arcati, how nice of you to come all this way.
A seance at the home of a great novelist. Oh, you lovely, lovely people.
Yes, indeed.
Well, to work. Shall we begin our little seance? Now then, let me see. I presume that is the phonograph, huh?
Yes, would you like
Oh,
me
no,
to...
please stay where you are. I can manage. Now then, let me see. What records have we here? Boogie. Oh, dear me, no. Ah, waltz. Yes, Daphne. She's my spirit control. Daphne adores a sweet waltz. Ah, yes. And now the light switch. There. Cozy in the dark. Now then, are you ready to empty your mind?
Empty, she says.
Hush! Hold hands. Is that you, Daphne? Oh, my dear. Oh, I'm afraid she's rather fretful. Is there anyone there who wishes to speak to anyone here? Aha! Now we are getting somewhere.
Yes, we certainly are.
Very well. Is it I? Is it Mr. Kent? Ah, there is someone who wishes to speak to you, Mr. Kent.
Tell him to leave a message.
Oh, here now. I must ask you not to be flippant, Mr. Kent.
Was I sorry?
May we turn on the lights now?
Oh, no, not yet.
Oh, Ruth! Did you pinch me?
Certainly not.
Don't blame Ruth.
Who said that?
Who said what?
Somebody said don't blame Ruth.
Oh, nonsense,
Oh,
dear.
my dear, I heard it distinctly.
Charles, are you trying to frighten me?
No, of course not.
You know, it's difficult to think what to say after 7 years. But I suppose good evening is as good as anything else.
Who are you?
Elvira, of course. Don't be silly.
No, the light.
Oh,
the
Charles,
light.
what? Charles, look at Madame Arcati.
Well, she's fainted. No, she's in a trance. Wake up, Madame Arcati. Wake up. It's time to go home.
Well, that's that.
Are you all right?
Certainly I am, my dear. I never felt better in my life. Well, tell me what happened. Was it satisfactory?
Well, Charles pretended he heard a voice in order to frighten us.
It was only a joke.
A very poor one, if I may say so. Nevertheless, I am prepared to swear that there is someone else psychic in this room apart from myself.
Oh, I don't see how there can be, Madame Arcati.
I do hope I haven't gone and released something. Well, all I must go. No, don't bother seeing me to the door. I just fly away like a little bird. Goodbye, my dear Kent.
Well, Charles,
Well,
what's the matter?
matter?
Well, you seem odd somehow. Here, have some brandy.
Thanks, I will. Look!
Charles! That was very clumsy of you, Charles, darling.
Elvira.
Uh-huh.
Then it's true. It was you.
Well, of course it was.
Charles, darling, Charles, what are you talking about?
Don't you see?
See what?
Elvira.
Elvira?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Elvira, dear, this is Ruth.
Oh, how do you
Ruth,
do?
This is Elvira.
Are you mad? What's happened to you?
I've gone mad. That's what it is. I've just gone raving mad.
Well, here, drink this. Then we'll go to bed.
Get rid of it, Charles, and then we can be in peace.
It's a thoroughly immoral suggestion. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Darling.
What is there immoral in that?
No, I wasn't talking to you.
Well, whom were you talking to then?
Well, Elvira,
Now,
of
look
course.
here, Charles.
Ruth, Elvira is here. She's standing a few yards away from you.
Yes, dear. I can see her quite distinctly, under the piano with a horse.
Who's built just like you.
No, but Ruth.
I'm not going to stay here arguing any longer. I'm going up to bed now. I'll leave you to turn out the light.
That's big of her, I must say.
Be quiet. You're behaving like a gutter snipe.
How dare you, Charles?
No, but Ruth, I meant...
That was one of the most enjoyable half hours I've ever spent.
Elvira,
Mm-hmm.
this is obviously an hallucination, isn't it?
Well, I'm afraid I don't know the technical term for it.
What am I to do? Where have you come from? Are you here to stay indefinitely?
Well, why? Would you hate it so much if I did?
Oh, try and see my point. You've been dead for 7 years.
I'm not dead, Charles. Passed over.
It's considered vulgar to say dead where I come from.
Oh, believe me, Elvira, I most emphatically did not send for you. There's been some mistake.
Well, somebody did, and that child said it was you. I remember I was playing backgammon with a very sweet old Oriental gentleman. I think his name was Genghis Khan. And then the next thing I knew, I was right here in this room. Perhaps it was your subconscious.
Elvira,
What is it, darling?
I really do feel strange.
Oh.
Seeing you again, I feel strangely peaceful.
Ah.
I suppose I shall wake up eventually.
Now just put your head back. There.
Like that?
Can you feel anything?
Only a little breeze through my hair.
Well, that's better than nothing.
I suppose if I'm really out of my mind, they'll put me in an asylum.
Oh, darling, don't worry about that. Just relax.
Yeah. Poor Ruth.
Oh, the devil with Ruth.
Good morning, darling.
You were drunk last night.
Ruth, I was not drunk. I honestly had some sort of hallucination. I swear I heard Elvira's voice.
Elvira? You were drunk.
And later on, I distinctly saw and talked to her. And after you'd gone to bed, we had quite a cozy little chat.
Drunk.
Mrs. Kent, I was not.
Good morning, Charles, my dear.
Oh, my God, here she is again.
That's right.
She's here again. She's... But, Elvira, you can't follow me around like this. There's Ruth.
Now, you stop worrying about Ruth. She'll calm down later.
I know, but...
And, darling, she's not as sweet as you think she is. She has a hard mouth.
I resent your discussing Ruth as though she was a horse.
Do you love her?
Of course I do.
As much as you love me?
Well, I don't be silly. It's all entirely different.
Oh, I'm so glad. We made a wonderful pair, didn't we, Charles?
You always behave very badly.
I love it when you pretend to be cross with me.
Elvira, you must now get off my lap.
Why? Why?
I've got to go up and talk to my wife.
I don't see why.
You know, this whole business of your return from the other place is very difficult for her.
Well, darling, she must just learn to be more adaptable.
But Ruth, what's Elvira got to do with our maid falling downstairs and breaking her arm?
I'm trying to tell you. She wanted to kill you.
Elvira, kill me? Well, you're
The
mad.
whole of the top stair was covered with axle
No,
grease.
you're making this up, Ruth.
Charles, don't you see? If you were dead, it would be her final triumph over me.
Oh, no.
She's probably planning a sort of spiritual remarriage. I wouldn't put anything past her.
Ruth. Now, Elvira,
Yes.
It's terrible weather outside. Why should I take you on an automobile ride this evening of all?
Because I want you to. I simply can't endure another cozy night at home with Ruth snapping at us like a terrier. Oh, darling, I've come to the conclusion that your taste in second wives is definitely inferior.
A few more minutes won't make any difference. Besides, the car won't be back for half an hour at least.
What do you mean?
Well, Ruth's taken it. She had to go and see the vicar.
Ruth?
Well, what's the matter?
You say Ruth's taken the car?
Yes, to go and see the vicar, but she won't
Oh,
be
my
long.
Lord.
Elvira.
Well, stop her, Charles. You must
Why,
stop her at
what
once.
for?
Well, stop her. Go on immediately and
Well, it's
stop
too
her.
late now. She's
Oh,
gone already.
Charles, this is awful.
Now, why are you going on like this? What have you done?
Done. Oh, I haven't done anything.
Elvira,
No.
you're lying.
No, darling, no, I'm not lying.
Well,
What
why
is
are
there
you in
lie
such a
about?
state?
Well, I'm not in a state. I don't know what you mean. It's all so
You've
silly.
done something dreadful.
Oh, don't look at me that way, Charles. I haven't. I swear I haven't.
Oh, my God, the car.
No, Charles, no.
Ruth was right. You did want to kill me. You've done something to the car.
Charles,
What did you do?
awful.
Answer me.
Nothing.
Answer me.
I haven't done
What,
anything. Oh, Ruth.
Hello. Yes, speaking. Oh, no. The bridge at the bottom of the hill. Yes, I'll come at once.
Charles, is she?
Yes.
But I didn't mean for her. I didn't mean to have her.
So you didn't mean to kill me. How touching.
Rose.
Elvira, who are you talking to?
Why,
I'm going to tear that so-called blonde hair out by the
No.
roots. I'm going to scratch your eyeballs
No,
out.
ow! Charles, make her stop.
I'm going to slap
Just let me
you
go.
right
You
around.
don't let me get out. No, now you stop. Stop it.
Madam Arcati, I don't know what you're talking about.
Lift up your heart, Mr. Kent. All is not lost. Now then, Mr. Kent, I have here a formula which will solve your problems.
Charles. Oh, Charles. What's that woman doing here? Isn't she the one who brought me here in the first place?
Yes.
Then please tell her to get me out of here as soon as possible. That second wife of yours is driving me crazy.
Now, Elvira.
I want to go home, Charles. I'm sick of this whole thing.
Mr. Kent, tell me, is she in this room?
Yes.
Is she speaking to you now?
Yes.
Very interesting indeed. I smell her protoplasm.
What a disgusting thing to say.
Tell me, where is she now?
Here, close to me.
Oh, you darling ectoplasm, you little darling.
Now, Charles, if she doesn't stop that, I'm going to strangle her with a bedsheet.
Oh, you lovely, lovely.
Madam Arcati, Elvira says she wants to go home, so do whatever you have to do and get it over with.
Home?
Well, wherever she came from.
Oh, couldn't she stay and play with me a little?
That's equally disgusting. I want to go now.
Now, she says.
Now then, turn on that phonograph, Mr. Kent.
All right.
Now then, out with the lights, Mr. Kent.
All right.
Ghostly spectre, ghoul or fiend, nevermore be thou convened. Shepherd's words and holy rites, banish thee into the night.
What a disagreeable little verse.
Now be quiet,
Hush,
Elvira.
hush, hush. Is there anyone there? Is there anyone there? 1 rap for yes, 2 raps for no. Is there anyone there?
Madam Arcati, Elvira, the lights. I'll turn on the lights. Oh, you're still here.
Sure. Madame Arcati is in one of those blasted trances again, and I'm still here. Oh, Charles, you've got to get me out of here, back where I belong. I can't spend another day in this house with that Ruth of yours.
But Elvira, I can't do anything. And furthermore about Ruth, how does it happen that I can see and hear you, and I can't see or hear her? I mean, it's possible you're having a ghostly hallucination,
Charles Kent, what do you mean I'm a hallucination?
Ruth.
So you can see her, too, now?
Yeah.
Well, how cozy for you. 2 wives, not in the flesh.
Mr. Kent, I'm trying. Really, I'm trying.
She's a fake.
Oh, shut up and let her concentrate.
Please, Madam Arcati, you must think of some way of dematerializing my wife.
I once dematerialized a trumpet.
I don't care if she dematerialized the whole symphony orchestra. I want to get out of here.
And what do you think I want?
If only, Mr. Kent, if only I knew what called your wives back from over there, perhaps I could do something about them. Hush now. Be you in nook or cranny, answer me. Be you in still room or closet, answer me. Be you behind the panel, above the stairs, beneath the eaves, waking or sleeping, answer me. That ought to do it, or I'm a Dutchman.
Do what?
Do what?
Hush, wait. Someone will come.
If that's another ghost, I'll scream.
I hope it's nobody we know. I'll feel so silly.
Was someone calling me, Mr. Kent?
It is the maid.
Girl, come here.
Yes.
Whom do you see in this room, girl?
No one. No one but you and Mr. Kent.
She's lying.
I'm not.
Mr. Kent, tell your wife to concentrate.
Yes, come on, Elvira, Ruth.
I heard. Concentrate, he said.
Girl, where are they now?
By the fireplace.
She can see them.
I knew it. She's a natural psychic. It was her influence that brought your wives back.
You hear that, Ruth? Fine maid you keep.
Oh, shut up.
I don't like this at all. I'm beginning to feel peculiar.
Tell me, what did she say?
Oh.
She's beginning to feel peculiar, she
Well,
says.
that's because the spell has begun. The maid is no longer concentrating on them. They are free now.
I'm feeling faint, Charles.
I am too, Charles.
Good. I'm so sorry.
Tell her to stop a moment. There's something I want to say to you before I go.
The lights, turn out the lights.
No, Charles, wait. Charles?
I think I'll change my mind. I think I won't stay.
Charles, you seem too anxious to get rid of us.
Now, Ruth, you let me do the talking. I'm the older spirit. Charles, you're not going to get us out of this house quite so easily. I consider that you've behaved atrociously over this whole miserable business. Now, you may not be able to see us, but Ruth and I will be right here. And I'd like to say right here and now that I, for one, will never, never leave this house.
Mr. Kent, I think it worked. The lights.
Gone. They're gone.
Yes, we've really done it. Now take my advice, Mr. Kent, and go away immediately.
Why, Madame Arcati, you don't mean that
There
they
are
might...
more things than heaven and earth, Mr. Kent. Just go. Just pack your bags and go. Goodbye. Cheerio. And good hunting.
Elvira. Ruth, are you there? Ruth, Elvira. I just want to tell you that there's no use in your hanging about any longer. I'm getting out of here. Elvira, Ruth, did you hear me? Well, then I guess you are gone. Now I can say it even to myself. I'm glad to be rid of you. You, Ruth, were turning into, shall I say, a shrew. And you, Elvira, well, you know, a man does get tired. So now I'm free to do what I blame please for the first time in years. Yes, even to go fishing. Or meet a lovely girl and know she's lovely and tell it to her. Yes, tell it to her. What? Who threw that vase? Oh, no. Elvira. Ruth! Oh, I haven't gotten rid of you. I mean, darling, stop. No, listen, all those things I said, I was just lonely for you and trying to bring you back. Elvira, Ruth, stop! Stop!
You have just heard the radio premiere of Noel Coward's comedy, Blithe Spirit, with Ronald Colman and his guest, Loretta Young, with Edna Best and Mercedes McCambridge. The adaptation and direction were by Archie, with special music composed and conducted by Gordon Jenkins. In a moment, Mr. Coleman and his guests will call in 2 American fighting men in New Guinea. But first, a word for you. If you could squeeze $1 hard enough so that 12 cents interest would fall into your pocket, you'd start squeezing right now. Well, that's exactly what could happen if you drive into your car dealer, serviceman, or any Autolite spark plug dealer and ask for Autolite plug check inspection service. You may get up to 12% more miles from your gas ration right off the bat, according to tests conducted by the American Automobile Association. And 12% better mileage would be a lot of interest to collect just by taking this one simple step. So tomorrow, give your car the benefit of Autolite plug check inspection service. Should your present spark plugs prove faulty, replace these gas wasters with new Autolite spark plugs. Remember, Autolite spark plugs are ignition engineered and precision built for long life and dependable performance. The name Autolite means precision manufacturing.
And now, Loretta and Edna will race ahead in time and space and say good morning to a couple of boys at an Allied base in New Guinea.
Good morning.
Well, New Guinea is 6,500 miles away, and it's about 6 minutes to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning down under.
Oh, I'll spend the night figuring that out, Ronnie.
Mr. Coleman, we're clearing the circuit in New Guinea now.
All right. Now, ladies, if you'll put these earphones on, we'll turn night into day. Ready?
Already?
Fingers crossed.
All right, here we go then. This is Loretta Young, Edna Best, and Ronald Coleman calling New Guinea. Hollywood calling. Come in, fellas.
Hello, Hollywood. Private Roy Little speaking.
Hello there, Roy.
And this is Private First Class Edgar Nebraska Draper. Hello, kid. What about the girls?
We're right here.
Greetings, boys.
Oh, boys, you should see the girls beam. Fellas, some news from home. Edgar, we called your mother in Albany, Oregon.
And the whole family sends a rousing cheer and love.
Your two brothers are somewhere in the Pacific, and your father's on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, that sure gets around. She's already been to Sicily, North Africa, New Zealand, and the Gilberts.
Well, we've heard that you've seen a lot of action yourself.
Oh, I was in some stuff at Los Negros.
At Los Negros? Well, is that where you won your Purple Heart and Oak Leaf Cluster?
Yes, sir. We won a shooting audience with a bunch of chaps.
And you were wounded, weren't you, Edgar?
Yes, ma'am. But I didn't even notice it at the time. Oh. I was too busy. Making sure that the riding sun would never rise again for a few of those jabs.
Well, Edgar, we know you did just that. And we also found out you lived in Nebraska for 17 years before you moved to Oregon.
Yeah, I was with the Future Farmers of America.
And specialized in livestock and exhibited every year at the Custer County Fair.
And raised pure-breed Berkshire hogs, eh?
Mighty proud hogs, too.
Edna, could you call a hog for Edgar?
Now, Ronnie.
Oh, now, come on. They're proud hogs, you know.
Well, here's a hog call with a British accent. Sweet.
Here's one with an Irish accent.
Oh, that's very cute.
That's very pretty, both of you.
All right, Roy Little. It's your turn for messages now. We called your mother in San Bernardino and your wife in Gardena, California. Everybody's fine at home and sends love.
Well, I'm fine, too, and I want to send my love right back.
We understand you enlisted a few days after Pearl Harbor.
Surely, I wanted to help get it over with just as soon as possible.
Well, you've done a lot to make that possible.
Now, Roy, you know this, but we'd like everybody else listening in to know it, too. You and 3 other boys attacked and killed 28 Japanese with hand grenades on Mansui Island.
When the news came about your Silver Star and Purple Heart medals, your mother says they were all very proud. Even your dad cried.
No kidding? Okay, folks, but just remember your number one son is feeling great.
And Roy, your brother Gene is somewhere in the South Pacific, too.
Well, I guess Gene's going to the Navy to see the world. And he's sure seeing it.
You bet. No dust on the littles.
And speaking of the littles, how are the little littles?
The little littles?
I mean, my 3-year-old baby, Barbara Ann, and
That was Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yes, Roy, he can see lots of things now.
Is that you, Edith?
That's right, honey. Mr. Coleman brought us all down to the studio to say hello to you.
Mr. Coleman, I think that's swell. And Edith, I love you, lady.
Bobby wants to say I love you too, Daddy.
Bobby, darling.
Can you say I love you, Daddy? Huh? There's your daddy, honey.
Good.
She's too bashful, darling.
Yeah.
Roy, whenever Bobby, she's saving things for you. And whenever she sees a pretty picture, she always cuts it out and says, I'm saving it for Daddy.
Tell him what your mother said, too, Miss Little.
Oh, she says that Jimmy can climb much better than you could at your age.
That's my boy.
And a fine-looking boy, Roy. And everybody agrees he looks just like you.
Time's up, Mr. Coleman.
All right. Well, men, that's all for now.
Guys, it was sure great hearing from you and the folks. And this little is a little dizzy. But thanks and goodbye, honey. And you, Bob.
Good night, darling.
Goodbye, man. Good night, men, and good luck.
Good night, boys. Good night, men, and God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been our custom on this global half hour to tell you a brief story about the work of your Red Cross. One of those tasks is to recruit nurses for the Army and Navy. Today, the Army and Navy need nurses as they never have needed them before. Won't you accept our program title as your watchword? Everything for the boys. Won't you sign up at your Red Cross chapter at the earliest possible moment?
Next week, Autolite cordially invites you to another program of Everything for the Boys. Your new global half hour uniting the home front and the battle fronts overseas. Your host, Mr. Ronald Coleman, will appear in J.M. Barrie's Quality Street, adapted by Arch Oboler, and dedicated to a pair of fighting Yanks who will speak by shortwave from their base in Australia.
Our thanks to Loretta Young and Edna Best. Until next week, this is Ronald Coleman saying good night to you and the boys, and God be with you.
December 7th, 1942. The National Broadcasting Company today presents a special memorial broadcast of Eyes Aloft.
America, Eyes Aloft. America, Eyes Aloft. America, December the 7th. America, remember Pearl Harbor. America, 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 America.
Army Flash. 1, bi-motor, low, scene, 15 Lucy 4, overhead, east.
Flies along, watching the skies, watching the planes flying the lanes up below.
Eyes Aloft, the 4th Fighter Command of the United States Army Air Forces, in cooperation with West Coast radio stations, presents this special December 7th program, paying tribute to America's war dead, honoring all of America's fighting men, and celebrating the first year of action of the 150,000 volunteer civilians of the Aircraft Warning Service.
Eyes aloft, night and day, we'll help protect the USA.
This is Ken Carpenter speaking. A gala program tonight. William E. Kepner, Commanding General of the 4th Fighter Command, has flown to Hollywood to be with us. Also, you will hear from high-ranking officers of the Anti-Aircraft Artillery and Army Air Corps. We will switch controls to an observation post, to a filter center, and an anti-aircraft target range. Gordon Jenkins and the Hollywood Choir have special musical presentations. And here now is your Eyes Aloft narrator, Gene Whitman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, December 7th, 1942, America has been at war 1 year. But not only men in uniform fight this war. There is also a vast army of civilian volunteers who carry on the fight here at home. The Aircraft Warning Service. How many of you can look back and recall how it all started? Well, listen. In the summer of 1941, the 4th Fighter Command of the United States Army Air Forces planned a coast-wide, border-to-border practice maneuver. For the first time in American military history, civilians were to become participants in the war games. Quietly, swiftly, the Army went at the gigantic task of organizing civilian forces. In the Pacific Northwest, Major Richard Carlgren assumed the tremendous task of organizing the Aircraft Warning Service. In the southern area, Major John C. Gray tackled the monumental job. In July of 1941, Major Gray went to Sacramento to talk with Dick Graves, then head of the State Defense Council.
Well, there, Mr. Graves, I've told you the Army story.
What a job you have ahead of you, Major Gray.
I need help. In particular, I need your help.
All right. What can I do?
I'd like your office to contact every one of your county defense councils.
Okay. And do what, sir?
I want the name of some outstanding citizens in each county.
You're after leaders?
Absolutely. I'll select one man from each county as the organizer of the Ground Observation Corps.
And what will that man do?
It'll be his responsibility to work with the Army. We must select locations for observation posts, pick up area supervisors, and we have to work fast.
For 5 intense months, the 4th Fighter Command worked with local civic leaders. The Ground Observer Corps was rapidly organized. It was a tightly formed system and intersystem of thousands of observation posts, filter centers, information centers. This Ground Observer Corps would, when the time came, alert Army aircraft, searchlight batteries, anti-aircraft artillery, barrage balloon units, would set into immediate motion a vast and intricate maze of military defense. At last, all was ready to test. The system was to be tried December 11th. The war games to be started, but... On December 7th, the tyrant nation started a different sort of war game, a real war game. Sunday morning, December 7th, 1941, the Hawaiian Islands, Honolulu, the dastardly bombing of Pearl Harbor by the Japanese. Listen to this eyewitness account of the bombing of Honolulu. Major Ernest Keating, now commanding officer of a fighter group in the state of Washington, was in Hawaii last December 7th.
Everything was peaceful and quiet at Wheeler Field at 7:50 on the morning of last December 7th. A few moments later, I heard an airplane in a dive, and it made a noise like a United States Navy dive bomber. At the end of the dive, I heard an explosion, and at that time, I thought the pilot had failed to pull out of his dive. Before I could reach a window, I heard many explosions in rapid succession. Then I realized somebody was bombing the devil out of the place. But I thought that the Navy had a bombing range nearby and was merely getting in some target practice. However, when I rushed outside, I saw a column of dense black smoke coming from a place on our flying field. I then surmised that one of the planes did fly into the ground and that what I saw was the smoke from his burning plane. At this point, the enemy swooped down and began to strafe Wheeler Field with machine gun and cannon fire. When I heard the machine guns, I at last knew we were being attacked, but wasn't quite sure who was doing it. Just then, I saw several dive bombers north of the hangars and recognized them as Japanese. The enemy machine gunned Wheeler Field for about 25 minutes. This was the longest 25 minutes I have ever spent. It would have been suicide to run out on the field to try to reach any of our planes. 2 or 3 hangars was an inferno of flames. Planes were burning on the field. Ammunition dumps were exploding all about us. Then the Japs left. I ran and helped carry wounded men from a barracks to the hospital. Then the Japs came back. This time I could see them bombing Pearl Harbor several miles away. I saw a great column of smoke rise. It later proved to be from the sinking Arizona. No man or woman who was in Hawaii last December 7th will ever forget that horrible surprise.
At home on that sunny Sunday morning, here in a trusting, believing America, people went about their way as usual. Those who weren't at church perhaps were relaxing in front rooms of homes. Sunday papers scattered about, children reading funnies spread out on the floor, wives in the kitchen contemplating the Sunday dinner menu.
Daddy, Bill won't let me have the part with the funnies. He's just sitting on it.
Matthew, Billy. Come on, give your sister the part with Blondie.
Aw, here, sissy.
Henry?
Yes, dear.
What are you doing?
Reading.
Now, you promised to clean the garage today.
Oh, well, I said some Sunday, not this Sunday. I'm going to see what's on the radio for a minute. Yeah.
Now, Henry, if you don't turn off that radio and go clean the garage, I won't cook dinner.
Oh, now, Martha. Hey, do you hear that? Guy Lombardo, your favorite orchestra.
Henry, you're just stalling.
Oh, well.
We interrupt this program for a news flash from Washington, D.C. One moment, please.
What goes, Dad?
Oh, wait, listen.
At 7:55 a.m. Hawaiian time this morning, Japanese planes dropped bombs on Pearl Harbor Naval Base, strafed Wheeler Field.
What?
Many civilians, as well as Army and Navy personnel, are believed dead.
Oh, Henry.
The amount of destruction is unknown.
Lord, Martha.
Keep tuned to this station for latest news developments.
Turn it off.
Yeah. Never have trusted those dirty Japs.
That'll mean war for us, won't it, Henry?
Yeah, that'll mean war for us, Martha.
Oh!
Oh, now, wait a minute. Don't get jittery. Probably just Jack Miller calling to see if I've heard the news yet.
Will Daddy have to go to war, Mother?
Oh, I don't know. Not for a while. Now, don't worry, Betty.
Yeah? Yeah, this is Henry Smith. Who? Oh, yeah. Now? Me?
What is it, Henry?
Well, I'm glad to. Yeah, I'll put on my coat and be right up. Yeah, goodbye.
Well, where are you going, Henry?
I don't want Daddy to leave.
Now, Martha, now look, kids. Now, this is no time for nerves. That was Phil Lockhart. He's chief observer at our post.
But where were you going?
He's calling observers to man the post. Say, it's 4 days ahead of December 11th. The aircraft warning service is going right into operation anyway.
This won't be play war as you all had planned it.
No, Martha, no. It's the real McCoy.
Yes.
We'll be watching for real enemy planes now. I got to get my leather jacket.
You don't know when you'll be back?
I don't know. Hey, gosh, Martha, just think.
What?
The honor I've just had tossed at me. Why, I'll be standing guard on the first doggone watch. Hey, gee, kid, you ought to be proud of your old man now.
Up and down the Pacific coast, in every city, town, village, and hamlet, civilian men and women observers and filter center workers were called to duty that Sunday morning. The Army supervised the job. The people of the country, volunteers all, were working in civilian clothes as part of the United States Army. Though they wore no uniforms of khaki, they knew on that ominous Sunday that they, too, were members of America's fighting forces.
At this moment, we switch controls to a typical observation post. Located on northern California's Monterey Peninsula, the new little post building sits high on a rocky promontory that juts out into the turbulent waters of the Pacific Ocean. Calling Monterey Peninsula.
This is Captain E.G. Morrison, South Coast Ground Observer Officer, speaking to you from the sea cliffs in front of the observation post. With me are several loyal observers. First, I want you to meet 82-year-old hale and hearty Finn Frolick.
Wind's coming north by west tonight.
And strong. Weren't you an old-time Norwegian sea captain before you retired, Mr. Frolick?
That I was, Captain. Paced the bridge many a night, watching the sea. Now I am pacing on this cliff, watching for the enemy.
Well, I know they'll never get by you, Mr. Frolick. Mr. Frolick has been an observer at this post since last December 7th. And here's Mrs. Karis Weston, another of the post observers.
Can't we take the microphone inside now, Captain Morrison? I think people would enjoy meeting our chief observer, Whit Wellman, and his wife, Olga. They're on duty tonight, you know.
Well, we'll go on in. But first I want to point out about this stone wall around the shack here. Didn't you have something to do with building that wall, Mrs. Weston?
Yes, Captain Morrison.
Was it your idea?
I began it. The other observers helped finish it.
Well, this is certainly a splendid post now. The way all you people have worked and built it up from nothing. Let's go on in now. Will you open the door for me, Mr. Frolick?
Yes, sir.
Warm in here. I think we all spent enough time outside keeping this post going when we didn't have a shack.
Oh, Mr. Wellman, you're chief observer at this post.
That's right. Of course, my wife here did a large amount of the early work in securing observers.
That was a long time ago. It was just a year ago today that we first started calling observers to come and stand duty on this post.
There wasn't any building here then, was there?
No, from Pearl Harbor to January 3rd, observers just stood up here, exposed to the wind and the rain.
That was pretty disagreeable work.
Yes, but we knew it had to be done. On January 3rd, we bought a bag, and we brought it up here.
Oh, that was a sleeping bag?
Yes, it was the one way to keep warm.
Well, that is fairly warm anyway.
Well, how far were you from the telephone?
Oh, we had to run about 200 feet at the phone at the home down below.
We couldn't run exactly. We'd stumble along the rocky path that leads down the hill.
Then you'd have to climb up all over again and make another flash call.
It was really pioneering in those days.
Well, this post, like so many others in the Pacific Coast, have come a long way in a year.
Well, Charlie Shepard, our county director, explained that if we ever had to have any building or anything else, we would have to arrange for them ourselves, and we did. We raised enough to build this fine little shack. It's well insulated, warm, and it helps us to keep a full quota of observers at all times.
Some one of us from this community will be right here on guard as long as we're needed.
And that seems to be the spirit of the Ground Observer Corps workers, to stay in the job as long as they're needed. This is Captain Morrison returning the program to Hollywood.
The 4th Fighter Command's Aircraft Warning Service is composed of two major units, the Ground Observer Corps and the Filter Center workers. Filter centers are located in many of the key cities along the Pacific Coast. We now take you to Seattle, Washington, where you will hear from Mrs. Negley England, Director of Civilian Components, and Signal Officer Colonel Richard Carlgren.
We've come a long way since our first meeting 16 months ago, haven't we, Mrs. England?
Yes, indeed, Colonel Carter.
This anniversary of Pearl Harbor brings back many memories.
Yes, but my 16 months with the Aircraft Warning Service seems small when I realize that as far back as 1939, you of the Army were actively engaged in laying the groundwork in this area for the AWS.
Yes, we were planning a test maneuver even as far back as 1939. But looking back to the first cornerstone of our present AWS here in Seattle, laid in July of 1941, I can remember the afternoon at your home, Miss England, with 10 Seattle women to whom you have given the responsibility of each recruiting 10 other volunteers.
Yes, we were out to form a group of 100 workers for the first filter center training.
Then I set out to organize similar groups in other western Washington cities where filter centers were to be established.
Just think how long that was before Pearl Harbor. Little did we realize then how those first 100 loyal women would grow to the vast organization we have here now.
No one of them at the time guessed they were signing up for a steady job.
No. We expected to dismiss our volunteers right after Thanksgiving. Just call them back occasionally for brush-up training so they'd always be ready for any emergency. Remember the morning of December 8th, Colonel Cargan?
Will I ever forget it?
I mean, the way our volunteers reported for duty, many without being called. Remember the speed and efficiency with which they took their places in the Filter and Information Center?
The great thing about it all, Mrs. England, is that the same spirit has carried on these last 12 months without a waver.
And we're all going to carry on for the duration.
Well, we of the military can never say enough in praise of our civilian volunteers. You yourself, Mrs. England, with nearly 4,000 hours of volunteer service.
Well, don't forget, there are many, many others who have served well into the 1,000 and 2,000-hour brackets. I'm sure we all feel that what we've done has been worth the time spent.
Your compensation has come, no doubt, in knowing that you have all done your jobs well. You have the satisfaction of knowing that others may live in safety without fear of enemy attack. It is the fighting spirit, exemplified in our volunteer workers throughout the Pacific Coast, that has carried us all so successfully over this first hard year.
The Gordon Jenkins Orchestra and Choir join in a modern song of hope. When the lights go on again all over the world.
thank thee, Lord, for daily bread, for homes unbombed above our heads. We thank thee for the right to live and breathe free men. And when, at end of day, we turn unto our beds to rest in quiet peace, we thank thee, Lord.
Then we'll have time for things like wedding rings and free heart will sing. When the lights go on again, all over the
Now we want to introduce the man whose mission is the protection of the Pacific Coast. He has flown his plane here tonight so that he may speak to us on this memorable date. We present the commander of the 4th Fighter Command, General William E. Kepner.
December 7th, 1942. We have been at war 1 year. The task undertaken by the civilian volunteers of the Aircraft Warning Service last September the 7th seemed a stupendous one. There were no signposts to guide us. We were hitting the pioneer trail, and we have come through our first year together. The Aircraft Warning Service is new to modern warfare. In the beginning, we may have lacked training, facilities, and background. But the 150,000 men and women of the AWS did not lack courage, initiative, and resourcefulness. Last December, a few good citizens told us that the volunteer system would fold up by spring. When spring came, some told us that summer vacations would strike a death blow to the volunteer group. In the fall, it was said by some that the volunteers would not go through another winter. But you, the volunteers of the Aircraft Warning Service, have shown how wrong the prognosticators were. Today, the target stands continue to march across the filter boards. To you who are in the audience here tonight, and to those who are listening at their radios, may I express my heartfelt appreciation for the work you have done. And may I thank you for the work I know you will continue to do, so long as your services are needed by the Army. Now may I present one of my staff officers. He is a man many of you know, for he has spent much of his time in the field organizing the Pacific Coast Aircraft Warning Service, Lieutenant Colonel John C. Gray.
We have reached a milepost. Today we can look back with satisfaction upon the many problems we have solved together. But we cannot rest upon our oars. I am sure that all volunteers wish to join with those of us in uniform in rededicating ourselves to the task ahead and to pledge again allegiance to our nation and to the Aircraft Warning Service. There are in the studio audience tonight nearly 300 women who have served faithfully and continuously at the big Los Angeles Information Center since last December 7th. They will now rise and repeat after me the pledge. And those of you volunteers listening in at your radios, wherever you may be, we ask that you, too, repeat the pledge with us. Will all volunteers of the Pacific Coast please rise? The 4th Fighter Command Oath of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the 4th Fighter Command, and to the United States Army Air Forces, and to the mission with which it is charged.
And to the mission with which it is charged.
The protection of the Pacific Coast and of the nation.
The protection of the Pacific Coast and of the nation.
From invasion by enemy aircraft.
From invasion by enemy aircraft.
Another member of my headquarters staff is Colonel Carl Wally, anti-aircraft artillery officer. Colonel Wally.
The anti-aircraft artillery is ready and waiting when and if the enemy ever dares to attack our western shores by air. Anti-aircraft guns can speak with real authority if our crews are warned ahead of time that the enemy is approaching. You, the Volunteer Aircraft Warning Service, must be ever on guard so that you can flash the message to us. You are vital to the protection of the nation.
And now, General Kepner, we are ready to transfer our controls to an unidentified practice target range in the Southern California area. We are ready to pay our tribute to those who have died in the fight for freedom.
It is a time-honored military right to fire a salute to the heroic dead. It is fitting that such tribute be paid the dead of this war, particularly to those of Pearl Harbor who received a stab in the back last December 7th. But we are a nation engaged in an all-out war effort. Today, every bit of war material must be used to stab back at a treacherous enemy. We cannot justify the waste of a minute of one soldier's time. We cannot spare 1 ounce of gunpowder, 1 scrap of brass. Today, our tribute to the war dead must be practical, as I am sure those valiant men would want it to be. When you hear the anti-aircraft guns firing, their purpose will be twofold. First, they speak our nation's solemn tribute to those who have not died in vain. Secondly, they are the snarling voices of guns, fired by crews perfecting themselves so that someday they may lay a well-placed blast into an enemy plane.
We switch controls now to a firing point on the southern cliffs of the Pacific Ocean. General D.D. Hinman, commanding officer of the anti-aircraft artillery, is there watching tonight's practice. Are you ready down there, Joy Storm?
Okay, Ken Carpenter. Here on the cliffs of the Pacific is a mighty battery of high-powered anti-aircraft guns. Above us has been flying an Army bomber towing a sleeve, a target at which the gun crew has been firing. Their accuracy is amazing. From the hills around us, giant searchlights stab cold white beams of light up into the air, converge on the target being towed by the plane, follow it through the night. The plane out over the ocean will soon be coming back again. And oh, here I see General Hinman, who is here tonight inspecting this gun crew's working, walking across the field. General Hinman, would you come up here and tell us all that is permissible about what's going on?
Well, Mr. Storm, this gun crew has been scoring heavily against the target.
Well, these are pretty big guns, aren't they, General Hinman?
Big and powerful. I wish I could tell you how high up they can fire a projectile, but I can't.
Well, I know that you had to clear the ocean more than 6 miles out before practice could begin.
Yes, Mr. Storm, these guns will shoot straight up in the air as far as any anti-aircraft guns built today. If any enemy aircraft gets anywhere within their range, the enemy better start saying his prayers.
Well, I'd hate to be an enemy plane trying to get through this gun crew that's firing tonight.
Think they're pretty good, do you?
Well, I have a new feeling of security for my family, General Hinman. That's one way I can put it.
Light finder on target. Director on target. Command, firing.
A gun crew at practice. A salute to our war dead. Though the lights of the world are dim this December 7th, the torch of freedom shall always burn brightly. This is Gain Whitman on this memorable December 7th, 1942, saying goodnight to the 150,000 Aircraft Warning Service civilian volunteers who keep constant vigil of our home front so that America will always be safe from any attack by air. Good night.
Eyes Aloft is produced for the 4th Fighter Command by Robert L. Redd. Music is under the direction of Gordon Jenkins. This is Ken Carpenter charging you to always remember, Eyes Aloft.
Eyes aloft, watching the sky, watching the planes flying the lanes up above. Eyes aloft, always on guard, lending a hand, protecting the land we love.
Eyes Aloft comes to you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Watch the sky, eyes aloft.